Look, before we do all of that, we've got the latest social media craze, which has actually sadly lent to a load of growing numbers of young people jumping on this tanning trend.
Yeah, teenagers are proudly posting videos that showing off their tan lines and documenting their sunbathe habits, which has led to a 43% surge in 18 to 25-year-olds using sunbeds.
Yes, so after using tanning beds regularly since she was 16 years old, our next guest was just 19 when she was diagnosed with melanoma. Georgia Edwards is joining us now alongside Dr. Nigat to tell us more.
Hiya, Georgia.
Georgia, thank you for coming on talking about this today, because this is hopefully going to send a really positive message out to a lot of young people that maybe made your mistakes.
Yes,
So what got you into using tanning beds and sunbeds?
I think I was just really young, loved having a tan without having the faff of doing it in your bedroom and it being all sticky. And me and my friends used to just go together to sunbed shops and have a quick 10-minute tan. You feel like you've gone to Spain and back. And yeah, I think it became addictive the more I would see tan lines and I'd see how much more tanned I was getting each sunbed. So yeah, I think that's probably the main reason.
How old were you when you started? 16?
Yeah, 16.
So it's a kind of impressional age where you're with your friends and, you know...
Yeah.
You're olive-skinned, right? So you tan pretty easy anyway, do you?
Yes, I do, yeah. Yeah, so
was that exacerbated when you have a sunbed? If you're olive-skinned, would you see it quite, like,
yeah,
more
definitely. Yeah, so I went on holiday with my friends when I was 16 and I was, like, a complete different colour to them because I'd been sunbedding loads so that I was tanned before I even got on holiday.
And this is the thing, so many girls use that logic, I'll get a pre-tan before the holiday tan, and then, you know, obviously it's not good for you at all, but when you're 16, you don't really think about the bad stuff that could happen. You probably weren't aware of any of the risks, were you, at the time?
No. I think I was just young and naive, and I think you think, oh, it's a lot of older people that it will happen to, or, oh, I'm too young for it to kind of hit me, until it did, I guess.
Do you get ID'd? Because if you're under 16, obviously it shouldn't be happening. So did you get ID'd at the time?
No. So you could go into a shop, pop a card into a coin machine and just top up however many minutes you'd like each sunbed. And I used to use different sunbed shops and I don't think I was ID'd in any of them.
Wow. And so you were using the sunbeds. At what point did you start either feeling different or noticing something different?
So probably about a year after using sunbeds, I noticed a mole on my upper thigh and it just looked a little bit red and bloody. But I had a dog at the time. I thought she might have just scratched me. And then it kind of did start to change a lot more. And then I happened to go to the doctors for something else and got them to check it over, and then they did put me on the 2-week kind of pathway where you're then seen to have a biopsy done quite quickly.
And then what happened? Did things happen quite quickly off the back of that?
Yeah, so they said it would be about 4-week wait until I found out, and I think it was actually about 5 in the end, and I was actually at work when I found out. I worked in the hospital, so they came and got me, and I kind of found out then. And luckily my mum was also, she works in the same hospital, so she could come down. But yeah, they told me there and then. And I kind of knew when I got in there because there was a Macmillan cancer nurse sitting there. So I think I just kind of knew at the time.
Oh, bless you, I got sort of a bit goosebumpy there, because that's not the news you were expecting at all.
No.
So once you got told that, then how quickly was it like, right, we need to start treating this, or can we treat it?
Yeah, so they offered me 2 different hospitals I could go to, and then I went to one and they actually said, actually, we think you're best placed at the Royal Marsden instead. So when I was, it's amazing.
My dad's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's quite close to me in Sutton as well, so that was really good actually. So I then had quite a few appointments with consultants and surgeons, and then I had quite a large surgery where they took out a lot more of my leg, and I've left with quite a big scar.
So they had to physically remove...
Yeah, so they removed a lot more of the skin deeper. So the biopsy that they took, there was kind of, they know that there's melanoma all the way through that, so then they have to keep going until they've kind of got it all out.
Dr. Nigat, let's bring you in. I mean, Georgia seems like almost a poster girl for this, because she knows that, you know, she now knows the risks. She's speaking brilliantly about it. But the telling sellers, so a lot of them are touting kind of, I suppose, the vitamin D, the wellness side of it, yeah? So is there ever a safe
No,
sunbed?
categorically I can say there is never a safe amount of sunbed use at all. So the Cancer Research UK have done lots of research, and international bodies have done lots of research on sunbeds. And they have categorised that because it's artificial UV light, it damages the DNA in the cells. Wherever you get damage, you're going to get inflammation.
Because it's artificial.
It's artificial. Sun also can cause that as well, and we'll come on to that as well. But this is intense amount that you're using for a purpose which actually you're using no other protection for, because when you use sunbeds, you're not supposed to put any sun cream on, no other. And I've actually heard stories of people putting on oil to get into sunbed. Georgia agrees with me. And that level of UV light damages the DNA, causes inflammation. When you get that, you get a breakdown in the cells and mistakes, and that turns into cancer. So using a sunbed is that carcinogenic equivalent to, say, tobacco or asbestos, which are also what we already know as carcinogenics as well.
How are they legal?
I know. And this is, I think, the battle that we've got, because there is this, I would say, medical myth of providing it wellness, vitamin D, almost slimming beds or tanning beds as well, makes you look skinnier, and then fat busts as well, and gets rid of, works as a fat metabolizer. None of those have been founded at all. Unfortunately, you're always going to get individuals that have anecdotal, it won't work for me, and this is how I feel, and then that spreads like wildfire. And unfortunately, there is a lot of misinformation when it comes to things like using sun cream, which is rife as well, which we need to tackle.
Well, let's go through it. Symptoms of melanoma, what should we be looking out for? And is there anything else on our skin we need to be keeping an eye out?
Well, some of them Georgia already highlighted. So in the NHS, I always say use A, B, C, D, E criteria. So we're looking for asymmetry. Does it have a raggedy border? Then B, border, what is it like? Is it sort of, raggedy on the edges? Does it look like someone's almost tattooed you and spreading artificially? Yeah, like that on the skin. Then C, colour. Are there any two different colours, two-tone colours that you're looking for? And this is really important, because if you're looking at black and brown skin, it might not appear like that. It might actually not appear red. It might appear tan, or even just darker brown, so have that acuity as well. Then D, diameter. Put a ruler next to it. Is it greater than, say, 6 millimetres? Then that needs to be checked out. And E, evolving. So does it rapidly change within a couple of days? And this is where your phones, your handy iPhones, are going to come into great use. So photograph, capture every mole, every skin lesion, because you might not notice the evolution. And you don't need to have all of them at the same time. You could just have evolution, so the evolving bit of the mole, and that would be an indicator to come in and get it checked out.
Wow, I mean, I think that the message is clear then, that some beds, no matter where you're using them, what type you're using, they're not safe, they're not recommended at all.
And keep an eye on your skin, keep an eye on your loved one. The NHS has got a great app called Skin Vision that you can download for free and photograph your mole, and it uses AI tech to tell you, OK, this needs to go to a healthcare professional. So I know access can be a little bit tricky, but the AI technology is only going to be as good as if we get a lot of people putting their skin on. So I need, like, people from ethnic minorities, black and Asian skin, olive skin, putting that in, because then we can teach that to pick it up early.
Sure.
And the data shows that the earlier you pick it up, the better the prognosis.
And people protecting our skin, obviously 30,
SPF, factor 50 sun cream as well, and look out for sunspots. So something called actinic keratosis, have an eye out for those. There's a small chance of actinic keratosis turning into like 10% chance of a squamous cell carcinoma. So getting those easily removed. In the NHS, is a cream that we can put on that zaps it away, or equally we can send you to a dermatologist. But sunscreen, always use sunscreen every single time.
Georgia, how are you now?
I'm good.
Yeah?
8 years, cancer-free. So I've got 2 more years of checkups.
Yep.
Up to 10 years. And then as long as all is OK in the next 2 years, then no more checkups
Good
needed.
to hear. Thanks for coming on.
So much for sharing that. Very brave of you.
Thank you.
Me.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Now, our next guest made headlines last week after receiving a suspended sentence for trafficking drugs into the UK.
So Levi Wally is a former nurse turned influencer who regularly posted about the jet-set lifestyle on social media. So when she was offered an all-expenses-paid trip to New York with her best friend in exchange for carrying a suitcase full of watches, she couldn't resist.
But after travelling back to the UK, officers at Birmingham Airport uncovered £160,000 worth of cannabis in their luggage.
So despite evading prison time, she says her life has been ruined and she faces losing her nursing career for good. So could they really not have known what they were signing up for? She joins us now. Levi, thank you for coming on and chatting about the story. I know it's taken a lot for you to come here, so we appreciate that. So I think most people that are watching or know about the story would say they believe you sort of knew what you were getting yourself into from the start. So can you tell us how you got into this?
So it was my friend. She was approached online. She met a girl in Marbella. She messaged my friend. She said, would you like to go to New York and carry some suitcases back? It's just watches. All the expenses have paid. And you will get some money in return as well. And then she discussed it with me and my friend, and then we decided together to came to that conclusion that we would do it. We weren't really thinking about the consequences as such at the time. It seemed a brilliant idea. We were already travelling a lot, me and my friend, that year. I decided to do a year of I wanted to travel as much as I could.
Yeah.
I'd done my nursing career since I was 18. So I just wanted to travel as much as I could that year. So this seemed like a great opportunity. So we then decided to do it.
Was there part of you that just buried what the consequences and what might be in that suitcase? Because even if it's watches, why are you bringing back two suitcases full of watches?
Absolutely. I think I went with the idea that I wanted to go to New York, and it's this glamorous type of lifestyle.
Sure.
And I just thought, why not? I think I forgot what I was actually
Well, also,
doing.
were you thinking,
over there.
even if it's watches and it's illegal, what harm can it do if I'm taking watches back to the
Yeah, I weren't really thinking about the consequences as such. I was thinking about going to New York and having the holiday. It wasn't until the day on return you had to think about what you was actually doing. So when we actually went to New York, we just enjoyed the holiday, and then on the return, you was then given the case. So then it was, right, what are we actually doing here?
Yeah, because I suppose that's the reality. Up until then, it's probably been DMs and WhatsApps or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't feel as real.
No.
Then you're at an airport and two big bags are being handed over to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And you're the ones taking that home half thinking now, what have we got ourselves into?
Yeah, I think at that point we was like, this is definitely not watches.
But why didn't you back out at that point, do you think?
I think we felt we was too far deep. The people that we was doing it for, they knew a lot about us.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I was scared. I was definitely scared. I just felt like I was just too far deep. There was at the point of no return, really. Yeah.
So then you had to sort of see it out, which was when you landed.
Yeah.
You just knew something wasn't right. As that carousel came through and your bags, were they the last to come through or something?
They came out, but on the carousel, they came out totally different compared to the rest. Everyone else's bag was laid flat. Our cases came out upright. So I think at that point we knew... At that point, I still thought, can we walk away from here? But we still decided to go ahead and get the suitcases off and walk through customs at that point.
So take us back to New York. How many days were you in New York for?
3 days.
OK, so in New York, all expenses paid, having a great time.
Yeah.
Did you ever have, dinner with your friend and just sit down and go, are we worried about this? Are we sure we're doing the right thing? Or were you just blinkered by what we're seeing now, which is you having a lovely time and looking nice in pictures?
I think I was... It wasn't until literally the last day. The last day we then thought, right, what
you buried your head in the sand?
Yeah, I was just enjoying the holiday. I wasn't really thinking much.
And did you not think, when your mate... what's your friend's
Sophie.
When Sophie said to you, we've got this opportunity to go to New York, and it's someone I met on Instagram, I know you've done a bit of influencing and so forth, but you're not thinking, how can we trust someone we've just met on Instagram? It just seems crazy. Yeah,
Sophie knew the girl, and the girl had already done the same trip, and there was various of other girls that she showed that had done the same trip, and when we'd done the...
Did they know what they were getting themselves into, do you think?
I don't think so, no. And I think even going forward, a lot of people that would probably be poached to do the exactly same thing, they'll be given a completely different story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think they knew what they was getting themselves into at all.
And Leva, I suppose, when you've heard that other people have done it, again, a bit like you're saying with the DMs and everything, you're not thinking of the reality, you're just seeing the result.
Yeah, absolutely. For me at the time, I just wanted to get away as much as I possibly could, and it just seemed an opportunity that I didn't want to miss out on, really.
But then the reality was, it must have been a hard-hitting moment when you realise you're actually in trouble with the law.
Absolutely,
this is a lot bigger than you maybe initially thought.
Yeah.
And you've got to tell your family what's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when we were at the airport and when we did get caught, I felt my whole world had crashed down. I knew at that point I'd absolutely really messed up.
So you saw your bags aside from the carousel. You then taken aside by customs?
Yes, we were. Yeah, and then we was asked where we'd been, where we'd travelled to. So we'd said New York, and they said, "Why have you been to New York?" So we said a shopping trip, and then that's when they asked if we packed our suitcases.
What did you say to that?
I can't remember if we said yes or no, but then they did ask us for the combination at the time, and none of us knew the combination because we wasn't actually able to even get in the suitcases. I think that's at the point at New York when we knew what we were doing. This is illegal, what we're doing. This isn't right. But we didn't know the combination, so they then forced the bags open, and that's at that point.
And are you looking then at £160,000 worth? So that's the view that you saw when you opened it?
Yeah, it were, yeah.
That's just, your bottom falls out of your world then, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, my heart, it just sank. It absolutely sank, yeah.
So when you went to get sentenced, were you thinking this is sort of it now?
So we wasn't even charged with the offence straight away. We was released on bail. We wasn't charged until January this year. So we've had 13 months without an actual even charge, which was quite difficult because we've had to literally rebuild our whole life. I went into work voluntarily, and said I've been arrested, even though I hadn't actually been charged with the offence. I voluntarily went in and said that I've been arrested. So straight away, I worked in the private sector. It wasn't actually the NHS, and I was dismissed straight away. So I had to sort of rebuild my whole life because they then informed the nursing council. So since then, I've had to, a job that I've always done, I've had to rebuild my whole life.
Are you nursing now?
No, straight away, because I was honest and went straight in. They dismissed me straight away. And then I had to do courses myself and try and rebuild my life. I did a facial course, aesthetics course, and I've had to just build my life from then. Something I've always done.
The tragedy is you've got you've got a qualification there that'd be so valuable to society.
Yeah.
It's your decision whether you want to use it or not.
Yeah.
But it just seems so tragic that's wasted now.
It's upsetting, yeah, it is. It's upsetting because I loved being a nurse and I loved looking after people. And unfortunately, for the rest of my life, I'm going to have to face this consequence of, it's resulted in for the rest of my life affecting me now. Because people have had some comments to say.
Well, listen, the Pitchfork Brigade is always going to be the Pitchfork Brigade. But do you not feel, how do you feel?
I feel destroyed by it. I don't want to play the victim though, because I did have the opportunity probably to pull out, and I still did choose to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to have to pay the rest of my life for that, and I'm destroyed by it. I am really destroyed.
Are you surprised you didn't go to prison?
Yes, I am surprised. I did go with my bag packed ready. I had my numbers in the book. I had everything ready.
God, the relief of that.
I did expect prison, but because of certain mitigating factors, which going forward to make awareness for people, because some people may think that, they've got away with this, maybe we'd get away with it. I just want to make it aware that not everyone might get a suspended sentence.
Well, this is it. And actually, if you'd been stopped in America, 2013, the average sentence for marijuana trafficking was 37 months. 90.6% were arrested in imprisonment. Maximum prison term could have been 5 years, more than 5 years and less than 10 years.
And it feels, what I would say, very frustrating that in some ways it was all just for social media. It was for the pictures.
Yeah.
Like Dermot said, you had an incredible career path to be a nurse, to be a midwife.
Yeah.
And so was it almost this strange societal pressure that, you know, like you say, not many people are going to feel sorry for you in this situation.
No, which is fine.
Because of,
you
know, some of it feels a bit like it was obvious what was going to happen. However, you did do it, and you're not the first person to make a mistake in life. But what was that urge to be showing off on social media? Where did that come from?
I think it's the society that we live in today. It's the society that we live in today. It's all an image. And reflecting back on my life now, I see it totally different. At the time, even though this image looked glamorous, I would definitely say my life now, I want to be more quiet. I want to take a different route in things.
You're off social media now?
No, I'm still on it.
Do you not think you should be off it? It's your decision, but
I think...
give it a rest and get on with your life.
Yeah, well, to be honest, with all the bad press that we've had, I've not even responded to the press. It was my birthday the day after, so I was just reposting posts that friends maybe had put on, but I haven't responded to anything anyone said. I've kept very quiet with this. So it was just today where I wanted to speak my side of the story about it, but I just want to make awareness to people.
I was going to say, what do you want to get out of this?
So out of this, I want to make people aware that, you know, we want to make people aware that at certain times people may appear that they have this glamorous lifestyle, but you can have some vulnerability as well. And I think at the time, even people might disagree because we look like we were smiling and happy. Normal people wouldn't agree to go and taking a suitcase. Like if I was to ask certain friends, oh, would you bring a suitcase back? They'd say absolutely not.
Sure.
So that shows that there was some instability in ourselves. So I want to make people aware that if you're asked or given these type of opportunities to change your life that we was given, really think about the consequences going forward.
Well, listen, we wish you the very best luck for the future.
Thank you.
And we hope you can rebuild your life and you and your family are happy, all right?
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the morning. Is currently experiencing a shortage of ADHD medication affecting both adults and children who rely on it to help them manage their symptoms on a daily basis.
Yeah, but with demand expected to exceed supply of some drugs into the summer, could our next guest experience perhaps take some of that pressure off?
Yeah, so when 49-year-old Joanne Burland was diagnosed with ADHD last year, she felt an overwhelming sense of relief.
Yes, but rather than starting medication to manage her condition, Joanne says that actually her symptoms were already being addressed by a different drug altogether, her weight loss jab. This is fascinating. She joins us now alongside GP Dr. Hussain. I mean, it's hard to know where to start with all this, isn't it? I've never heard of anything like it. Well, first of all, let's ask you how it all came about, because when did you get diagnosed with ADHD?
So I was diagnosed last year. I had to wait 3.5 years for my diagnosis. I realised I've been training to be a counsellor.
Yeah.
And in that first year, you have a lot of self-reflection and a lot of just working on yourself. And it kind of dawned on me then.
Had you known for a while? Had you suspected for a while?
Not so much. I've just always been a bit quirky. I've always...
But who isn't, right? So, yeah.
Exactly. But I've always felt like the third wheel in a friendship. I've always felt different to other people and not felt like I've fitted in, really, like my whole life.
Sure. So when you were on the weight loss jab, do you think that's reduced the symptoms of ADHD?
It's certainly helped me. I am notoriously unorganised, trying my best to be organised. Constantly got this narrative in my head because I'm not as organised as everyone else seems.
Yeah.
So it's just like this constant berating.
I imagine this is ringing a lot of bells in homes around the country right now.
Absolutely. And I just realised once I'd started taking it that kind of quietened. The chatter that was going on in my head kind of subsided. And I just got more focused. I just got more. I gained more concentration. I was just able to do things.
So you started taking the weight loss jabs before you'd even had your diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
So you're taking the jabs, you're noticing a change in your weight, and then you're feeling different.
Yeah.
And then is that when you sort of did put the two together and thought, well, this seems to be having an effect here?
Not so much. So I was on Mounjaro for about 5 or 6 months.
So that's the weight loss jab,
year.
isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And I had to come off for financial reasons because the cost was going up and up. And it was then when I was off that I actually started to realise
that your symptoms were coming back of your ADHD.
Exactly.
And then you got diagnosed.
Exactly.
Wow.
Sure. Let's bring Dr. Hussain. So the people watching here, perhaps the ADHD themselves, asking right now, is this possible? So from a medical point of view, where are we with it?
So, like as a headline at the top, we don't want people switching over to these injections because as of yet, we haven't got definitive, concrete evidence to support this. If we are going to ever license a medication for an indication, it has to be really robust. We need lots of data, fully understanding how it's utilised, etc. However, if we look at anecdotal evidence from quite a few different patients across different countries, we are seeing a trend where they're noticing improvements in symptoms around attention, impulsivity, etc. And already, GLP-1s, which is the class of medication that these weight loss injections sit under, are being investigated in, for example, ADHD, as well as gambling, alcohol addiction. Because if we look at it theoretically, GLP-1 is a hormone that our body naturally produces, and it works at different sites, including, yes, cravings for food, but in other mechanisms in our dopamine and our reward systems, we have these receptors at other areas of our brain. So it's not surprising to see other effects. Only time and really robust evidence will be able to support whether we can utilise it in other spheres. But I would not be surprised if we do not see, as the years go on, further indications outside of type 2 diabetes and weight loss as we better understand this medication.
Because the focus it gives you, because you're not worried as much about those things.
Yeah, like there's different proposed mechanisms by why we see these improvements. It could be that it's a direct action of the hormone on receptors in areas of the brain. It could be that as we see weight reduce, we know that excess weight causes impairment on memory, on attention. The inflammation that it leads to the body is there. It could also be that the improved motivation and self-esteem and mental health that you get from having progress with your weight journey, that could also play. So there's lots of complex interplays that are here, and it's unknown which one is more important than the other. And that's where randomised control trials can try to pick out what is it about these medications or the weight loss journey that's having this effect. Because we do see, just in weight loss from other realms, let's say lifestyle interventions, they also see improvements in ADHD symptoms as well. So there's lots of elements to explore here, but very interesting science.
Yeah, that is interesting. I'm seeing what you're saying. It could just be the healthy lifestyle change, but it could also be something a bit deeper than that. I know friends that have used the weight loss jabs and they've said it quietens the noise around food and thinking about food all day. For you, Joanne, was that how you felt?
Absolutely. And I received an email from a lady and because I shared my story.
Yes.
And she's just been diagnosed. She's 60 years old and she's also on weight loss jabs. And she said for the first time in her life, she's just got clarity. She's just got that space that she's able to get on with things. And for me, personally, that's exactly what it enabled me to do.
Because we asked ADHD about your experience. And they said it's a relatively new topic that needs research, like you just touched on, Doctor. But it's important, as people with ADHD are 70% more likely to be obese. So if you extrapolate there, the link to improved ADHD symptoms might be indirect, a consequence of lower weight rather than weight loss. So, Doctor, when you say we need to know more and trials, how long do those, I mean, it's like how long's a piece of string, right? But how long do trials normally take before the medical scientific community go, OK, we do see that as a kind of proven fact?
Yeah. So generally, trials have 3 phases. The first phase is to prove, is the medication safe? Prove that. The second phase, you look at, is it effective at the indication that you're exploring? So this is where you do randomised control, you compare it against placebo in patient group, for example, ADHD, and you see, is there a clinical effect there? Then the final phase is trying to understand the impact and other side effects that when you're giving it to more people, you will start to identify. Because only when it's a few hundred, you're not going to pick up some of the rarer side effects. Once you've done all those 3 phases, how long does that take? Anywhere from at least 3 to 4 years to sometimes 10, 15. It all depends on what evidence comes about and how quickly that comes.
Right.
Yeah, I suppose that's one thing to stress, isn't it, today? And it's so interesting, Joanne, hearing what you're saying. And I'm sure it's going to start a lot of new research. But for people watching right now with ADHD, just to stress that this is not something we're suggesting you try.
Absolutely not. No, there's lots of good evidence for the medications that we've got at the moment, but also a lot of lifestyle interventions that you can do to support that. Go on the ADHD UK website. There's lots of information there to search. But yes, this is an interesting area, and they've already started research in this area, but it'll take time to get the results.
So thank you.
And thanks, Joanne. That's so brave of you to speak out about it.
Really great. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.
Well, Steve and the real-life inspiration behind the film, Tom Michelle, join us now on This Morning.
Morning, chaps.
Can I just say, when I heard about this story, all I kept saying, it's a true story. It's an actual true story. How did you first hear about the story, Steve?
Well, Tom here wrote a book called The Penguin Lessons many years ago, and Jeff Pope, who's my colleague and sometime co-writer, I was working with him on another project, and he said, I'm writing this screenplay based on this book about Tom Michelle. Do you want to play him? And my initial reaction was, I don't want to be in a sort of cuddly, cute movie about a penguin. That's not really my thing.
Yeah.
But we talked about perhaps taking Tom's story and adapting it and bringing in some other elements. And one of the main liberties we took is that we made my character... Tom's quite a decent chap. Mostly decent. And,
you don't know me that well.
I know. That's the benefit of the doubt. But what we did was we made my character... My version of Tom more cynical, if you like, and disengaged and a bit more selfish.
Yeah.
And the penguin that Tom really did rescue, as depicted in the film, becomes a catalyst for my character to learn to be less cynical and a more productive, kind member of society.
So, Tom, you're set in Argentina, and you were there teaching in the 70s, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So what brought you there in the first place?
As a youngster, I'd always wanted to travel. My family had various members scattered around the globe. And South America was one place that none of the family had any connection with.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to go there. I wanted to go and a real tierra incognita. And when I saw an advert in a newspaper for a teacher in a public school in Argentina, I wrote and said, look no further, I'm coming.
Yeah.
And because of the chaos in Argentina, I imagine they had no other applicants. So that's why I got the job.
Because this is it. It's set in the backdrop of the turmoil, the military dictatorship and so forth.
Yes, I mean, because it was the end of the Peronist regime,
yeah.
And the country was in chaos. We had inflation running at 100% a month. Nothing worked, electricity, trade, and everybody said it's a bad time to go because of the economics, because there's going to be a coup, and I just couldn't wait to get out there.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to happen before I got there.
Yeah.
But when you wrote the story, you initially put it out there for free, didn't you?
Well, yes. I mean, when I came back to England and had my children of my own, when they were tackers, bedtime stories were about Juan Salvador the penguin, and they grew up. And my wife came to think, you must write that story down because they're going to want to tell their children, and you'll be dead at the time, something cheerful like that, and they will want to know. So I wrote it out, and more people kept saying, oh, can we read it? And my printer was, expensive, so I put it up on Kindle, so I could just say, go and look it up. And I didn't believe anybody would find it, because if you search Penguin, what comes up is 20th century literature, or whatever, published by Penguin. And within days, less than a week, I got an email from Animal Planet, Disney's production, saying, can we talk about this?
Wow.
And my jaw hit the floor. Again, everything associated with this penguin has dominated my life from the day I picked it up. And it's been an extraordinary journey.
And how much of what you see Steve's depiction of you, how much of that resonates with you? Were you, at the time, were you quite weary about life? Or?
No, absolutely not. I was in my early 20s and I wanted to travel. And in many ways, Steve's character is the antithesis of mine.
Yeah.
I was young, he was somewhat older. Our motives for doing things were entirely different. But the film about the penguin, which, and it is exactly as it is in the book, and they've done a brilliant job on that. But Steve brings something to the character which is much more interesting than a 23-year-old because it has colour and variety and change.
Yeah. So this is real footage. This is real footage.
This is real footage.
You in the 70s with this penguin. This is the real penguin.
This is Juan Salvador.
So Steve,
and,
was the
AI could never have produced it because you can identify the members of staff at the college.
Oh my God! So Steve, was the penguin in the film? Was it robotic or how did you do it?
No, there were lots of all real penguins. We never used any CGI penguins. There was one robot penguin. Whenever the penguin was required to do something distressing, then we'd use the robot. And it's quite believable. I carry it around in a bag, and that's probably spoiling it for people, really. But if I throw it into the sea, I'm not throwing a real penguin into the sea. So we had sort of fake ones and real ones. But most of the time it was two real penguins called Baba and Richard, who were a couple because penguins mate for life. And
bitey?
What?
Were they bitey?
One of them was a bit bitey. Richard, if he had a bad morning and I was being too friendly with him or petting him too much, would nip me, flick his head around and nip my... But I kind of like that because I had to work harder for his affection. I don't want it to be too easy. But he treated me mean, kept me keen.
And Tom, when you were there and you found the penguin on a week in Uruguay, is that right? Yeah. But did you try and put it back in the ocean?
I did. It was one penguin was alive on this beach full of dead penguins. And my initial reaction was, perhaps I can clean it up and release it again. So I took it back to the flat, washed it, cleaned it, got most of the tar off. And then... I didn't want a pet. I didn't want an animal to look after. It was far too difficult. So I tried to release it. And I tried really quite hard, and it would not go. And it kept coming back to me. And, in the back of my mind was this voice saying, you've washed out its waterproofing, it can't survive in the sea.
Yeah.
So you've taken the responsibility of cleaning it, now you've got to look after it.
Yeah.
I was due to go back to Argentina and start teaching, so I thought, well, it's got to come with me, hasn't it?
What did the boys make of at the school about the penguin?
Well, like any animal and children, they were like magnets. They attracted each other. And so looking after the penguin became quite easy for me because the boys would... a full boarding school, the boys would go up to the market and buy sprats, which I paid for, but it was mere nothing, and they would feed it and they would wash down the terrace. And it was really good for the boys who weren't particularly stars at rugby or academically or whatever. And it was a lovely time watching them.
That's amazing. I just cannot get over that this is a true story.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was absolutely true. I mean, last night, one of the boys from the school at the time was in the audience. He was an invitee of mine. And we were just saying he's probably the only person, certainly there last night, but perhaps in the country at the moment, who witnessed that penguin and fed him, apart from me, which was actually rather nice to have him there.
It was, yeah. So it was. I mean, having the penguins on set was actually there's that old adage in show business: don't work with animals or children, and I worked with both of them on this. And but the penguin actually was a really calming experience because it gave us, rather than it being chaotic, it sort of kept everyone calm because you're not allowed to shout and.
Well, you've got to keep very quiet. Have you?
Everyone has to be very serene. So it actually calmed everything down rather than made everything chaotic.
Tom, just before we go, it's so lovely, the story that you wrote it for your children. You put it on Kindle, but the fact that it's been adapted now and as a film,
well,
Steve and
yes,
Jeff haven't
this little incident 50-odd years ago has just kept multiplying and multiplying. For a few people knowing about it, to tens, to hundreds, to thousands, and now the film is going to be hundreds of thousands or even millions of people. It's the most extraordinary journey.
Yeah, and the book's still out?
Oh yeah, the penguin lessons. Yes, it's there.
Available in print and Kindle.
Well, yes, and what do I say? It's easy to remember penguin lessons to the schools and what did one learn from a penguin.
Thank you,
And
Steve.
a wholesome thing we can watch at the cinema. Lovely that you can go and watch with your family.
Absolutely. The Penguin Lessons is released in the cinema on the 18th of April. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning. In the last year alone, more than £11 million has been lost to holiday scammers.
Someone who knows only too well just how advanced these scams can be is Marion Tyler, who thought she was on the phone to her travel company, but actually was speaking directly to scammers, leaving her £2,000 out of pocket.
Yeah, Marion and her daughter-in-law, Marie, join us now alongside our consumer editor, Alice Spear. Good morning, Alice. Good morning, Marion Marie. Thank you for joining us.
Morning. Morning.
So, Marion, you were a victim of this holiday scam. Tell us what happened.
Well, I booked a holiday for myself, my daughter and her 2 children to go to Lanzarote in August. And I booked it online with Love Holidays. And then that was the beginning of January. And then in the middle of January, I managed to save a few pounds. And I decided I would go on to Love Holidays and ask them if I paid that off, where does it leave me with my next payment in February? So I Googled the number. I talked into my phone, as I always do, and I said, telephone number, Love Holidays, and the number came up. And it even had the little logo, although it turned out it wasn't exactly the same. But I phoned up and I told them my name and I told them my reference number. And from that, the girl was able to tell me all about my holiday. She was able to tell me where I was going, when I was going, who was going, that I was a lead passenger, right down to, she said, oh, I see that you're going all-inclusive. That'll be great with you with the children. It'll take the pressure off.
So it sounded very legitimate. It sounded like you're actually speaking to Love Holidays.
Yeah, I really thought I was because of that. And then she said, I have good news for you today. I can give you £500 off if you pay £2,000 today. So that's a lot of money, £500 off. So I did. And then the next day I went on and there was nothing paid off the holiday. So I then went into a state of complete panic and everything. And it all started from there. And then it got all very, very confusing because I then contacted the same number and they assured me, no. She said, I will actually transfer £1,000 over now to your holiday. And she said, I can actually transfer the whole amount over and then you pay it off. So I was then doubting, was it a scam? Was it not a scam? But anyway, they phoned me all that day about 14 times and then they WhatsApped me, but they were on WhatsApp and she was phoning me constantly, but I didn't pay any more money. And it turns out eventually, it's a long thing, but it turns out eventually what happened was they had done a recharge back, a charge back. And I never knew that was a thing. They were always going to, it wouldn't have mattered if they'd have paid the whole money off the holiday, they were always going to recharge it back.
Right. And it was Marie, you came in and helped your mum realise it was a scam, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it was getting really confusing and upsetting for Marion when she realised, and she keeps saying, oh, I feel really stupid. And I don't feel stupid because it's an easy mistake to make with the phone number side of things. And even if I think a lot of us would say, oh, if someone told me to transfer money, that would be an alarm bell for me. But even if you hadn't transferred the £2,000, what was really worrying was that every time Marion was in touch with the legitimate Love Holidays company by going to the website and getting the right number, which unfortunately she hadn't done on that particular day, then what transpired every day was that they were actually hijacking her entire holiday. Every day, even after putting into place the measures that Love Holidays recommended, which was change the email address, add a password to the account, every day they were still able to go in and make changes to her holiday, and we couldn't understand why. And it wasn't until I escalated things through their CEO office, through my other social media accounts, that I was able to get hold of someone, because the usual contacts, I wasn't getting anywhere. They basically, us on a call together, discovered that the reason that they were able to do that was because they're accessing a cached URL, which essentially means if you log in once on a particular device, you're not re-authenticated to get back in. So sorry if I'm being a bit too techie, but ultimately we're all used to this, right? You do two-factor authentication every time you might get or so the way it works with not just Love Holidays, most holiday providers, when you go in and you log into your account to manage your booking, certainly for the first time, you'll get sent an email, that's normally the route, with a link. You click that link and you access your holiday. But what was happening in this instance was because the hackers got in the first time, it didn't matter that she changed her email or added a password because they were accessing the same link. But one last thing I should just quickly say as well, that on the back of us finding all of this out, that when we spoke to the team about, you know, look, it's clear that the booking reference is the unique identifier here on the URL. Can we just change the booking? And they weren't able to do that until media got involved.
So let's just
it's
talk to...
incredibly sophisticated. You can see
Let's talk to the viewers. Like, how can we stop this?
Incredibly complex, okay, and it was a scam, and it was very, very deceptive. First of all, online, there are lots of companies mimicking other companies with a misspelling or a hyphen or just anything that is slightly different. And calling using your Google app will get you through to one of those companies if they've moved themselves up high enough. Now, Love Holidays have said they're very sorry for the stress and inconvenience that Marion's experienced. She did call a number not associated with Love Holidays. They worked hard to secure her booking to avoid a similar situation occurring. They're also paying extra for ads on Google to stop the scammers from placing ads above them with false contact details. So please be very careful who you are calling. There are mimics for those companies out there, and without knowing, you are really helping them by giving extra information. If the scammer is on the phone and they say, how do you spell your surname? How do you spell your mother's maiden name again? They don't know your mother's maiden name or your surname or your login thing. They're asking you to verify it, but actually what they're doing is getting the information from you. So A, look out for mimic companies. B, never, never, never leave the platform. When you're on these platforms, be it Airbnb, be it Google, be it wherever you are, Love Holidays, the actual ABTA or ATOL registered company, don't leave the platform to talk on WhatsApp because you're verified and you're protected. Also, don't throw away all those payment protections. I know Mariam was coerced into paying by bank transfer. Anything on a credit card or a debit card, even PayPal or through a website, you are protected. So all your safety nets go once you start throwing those things away. And that applies to everything, every holiday you are booking. And there's some really good scams out there at the moment. We haven't got time to go into all of them in detail, but the golden rules are stay on the site, choose an ABTA or an ATOL registered company, go on the ABTA website, the Association of British Travel Agents, or ATOL, stay on their websites, go onto those sites and find out where they're listed. Stick with payment protection, use your credit card, and just never, never, never leave the platform. And we'll go into some of the detailed scams another time on the AI scams and how to do Google reversing. There's a lot of money being, the average victim loses nearly £2,000. It's the second biggest scam to credit card fraud.
And it's not just being scammed out of money, it's places being double booked or reviews not being truthful as well.
It is. And people are, and it's a generational thing, Gen Z's much more susceptible to being influenced by social media and for ads that they see out there. And you've got to learn how to verify them, how to do a reverse image search, how to check all those reviews. I feel another item on this.
We should do it.
For sure.
Marion and Marie, thank you for coming on. Hopefully you can enjoy the holiday. I know you got your money back as a goodwill gesture, so we're pleased about that. But we really appreciate it.
Just a goodwill gesture, just quickly, we want to say a big thank you to AIB Bank because they actually worked really, really hard to get the money back from the online bank. So thanks to them.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Marie. And do enjoy the holiday when you eventually get there.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
And now, as he's launching a campaign to help raise awareness, Lee joins us alongside Professor of Medical Oncology, John Radford. Good morning to both of you. Thanks.
Good morning. Thanks for having us on.
It's lovely to see
Lee, we've interviewed you, chat, me and Kat over the years in the 90s and the noughties.
Back to the 90s today.
Isn't it crazy?
Never had any idea that you had been through such an extraordinary medical challenge, which started as an 8-year-old. What do you remember back then when you first got diagnosed?
So, just before my 9th birthday, I remember always coming home from school, just fatigued, constant fatigue. And then my mum noticed a lump just under my jawline there. And we went back and forwards for about a year until we got diagnosis of Hodgkin's. So it was kind of a long process, but it was just a lot of fatigue, even kind of loss of appetite as well was something that I remember.
So once you get that diagnosis as well, I mean, you were just 8, nearly 9 years old, so I'd imagine that it was all quite overwhelming, didn't really understand the implications of it. What was the process then with regards to treatment?
So, I mean, yeah, it was a traumatic experience at that age, losing your hair with the treatment side, treatment chemotherapy. I can't remember how long it went on, but I just remember being in Newcastle Hospital in a cubicle. It was kind of an isolating time for me back then. And it changed my life. It really did change my life. And then 5 years later, it then kind of relapsed again.
Yeah, it came back.
So the second time you were almost 15, right then?
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? Were you almost stronger because you'd been through it one time before? Or was it harder for you?
It was actually harder psychologically, I think.
I'm sure, because you're a teenager.
I'm growing a bit. I'm a little bit more aware of myself.
Yeah.
I was always checking myself after the first time for any lumps and stuff like that. But yeah, it really. I think the way I saw myself was the biggest problem going forward, and that went forward into my adulthood, into my days in 911 and stuff like that as well. And there's little bits still that kind of affect me, but I've accepted stuff, I manage stuff a bit better than I used to do.
But that process when you're suddenly at school and you're going through, as a teenager, when you want to be meeting girls and boys and you want to be going out and having a great time, and then suddenly you're going through this really brutal treatment again, that must have been really tough.
It was really tough, and I kind of blocked the world out, really. I didn't really go out and stuff like that. I was literally isolated, either in hospital or when I was kind of able to go home and stuff. I stopped myself from going out because I'd lost my hair and I didn't want people to see me. And I hated the way I looked. That was it. I was skin and bone and with no hair, so
it was tough. I mean, it's so testament to you that by the time you'd sort of been healthy, you'd been cancer-free for a while, you got yourself healthy, and then you wanted to get into a boy band. You wanted to perform. You wanted to be a singer.
I did. I loved Take That. Take That, it was my inspiration to get into 911. Yeah. And I had no idea how to do it, but luckily there was a couple of guys called Spike and Jimmy, and they were looking for a third member.
Didn't you write into a radio station
exactly
or something like that? It was like...
Yeah, my local Carlisle radio station
and
at the
so
time.
do you know anybody...
Yeah, you've got it, you know that.
Yeah, anybody looking for a lead singer?
That was it, and they passed my details up to the manager in Scotland who was looking after the lads, and that was it. We were the same, we're quite small, we're about 5'5" each, and it just kind of worked.
It worked. And but you're all clear now?
I am all clear now, yeah. There's a few things that have kind of happened along the way, but I'm fit and healthy and living life to the full. It's taught me resilience and lots of things, strength, you know.
And are there any other repercussions?
So the main repercussion for me was finding out 20 years after my recovery that I couldn't have children. Yeah. And that was a huge blow.
Because of the treatment you
Because of the chemotherapy,
right.
yeah. And that was a huge blow. But it's something I've come to terms with over the years and I've accepted, and, you know, I'm alive and that's the main thing.
John, it's brilliant having Lee here. Yeah. As Kat and I knew him when he's in his pop star days, the heyday of the boy band, and he's still with the boys now, had no idea. He was always a picture of health. Yep. Jumping around the stage, performing.
Curtains.
Yes.
And fantastic to see that you can recover. But what you want to be is very conscious of letting people understand what are the symptoms we should be looking out for.
Well, I think first to say, Lee's story is very powerful, and it just actually shows what a big impact having this diagnosis and going through this sort of treatment has, especially on a young person. And Hodgkin lymphoma is the commonest cancer in young people. Overall, it's quite a rare condition. 2,500 new cases a year. Typically, people find a lump, and you found a lump in the neck or under the arm or in the groin.
In the lymph
These are the lymph glands that have enlarged as a result of the tumorous process. But the thing to remember is that it's not just about lumps. So you mentioned, Lee, as your first symptom, tiredness. And I think that is a very important symptom to be aware of. Also significant weight loss, loss of appetite, drenching sweats at night. And in fact, Hodgkin lymphoma can present in many different ways. And I think the message is, if you've got symptoms that persist for more than a couple of weeks and are not self-limiting, you need to get those checked out. Now, if you've got a lump, then that makes it a little bit easier because there's something there that's clearly abnormal.
You can see,
Physically, it's there. And, of course, you then had a biopsy and the diagnosis was made. So I think the message that I'd love to be able to sort of underline is the importance of getting things checked out if symptoms persist.
Yes.
And of course, if there is a lump present and people, as it were, feel in the neck and under the arm and in the groin, if there's a lump that persists for more than a couple of weeks, get that checked out.
Yeah.
Most causes of an enlarged lymph node are infection, and that will go away. So most people with lumps, it's not due to lymphoma, but in some cases it will be, and that's why you need to get it checked.
Can I ask you a question? How do you physically do it? How do you check? Is it just pressing under your jaw?
So the recommendation is with the flat of the hand.
Yep.
And with a circular, gentle movement, feeling in the neck,
Yeah.
behind the collarbone, the clavicle, under the arm, and in the groin.
Okay.
Now, of course, lymph nodes are throughout the body, so you can't feel those in the abdominal cavity or the chest cavity. And, of course, those can cause symptoms in their own right, such as abdominal pain, or it might cause a cough persistently, or shortness of breath. So, in other words, there's no specific diagnosis. And it goes to that point about if there's symptoms that persist, get them checked out.
And interestingly as well, if it is caught early enough, it is eminently treatable. But also the other thing is there's an impact to some of the treatment, understanding, because Lee didn't really know when he was 14 or 15 that this treatment could well make him infertile.
And Lee, that point about finding out about infertility later is devastating. And that's one of the late consequences of treatment. There are other late consequences that people need to be aware of, and the sorts of things that we can do to mitigate those, such as screening, lifestyle, other medical interventions, which underlines, again, the critical point for people like me these days is to try and devise therapies that are effective but less damaging.
And for the patients
And for
to
the patient.
communicate with their doctor.
Exactly. And this is all about dialogue and talking doctor and patient, patient and doctor and carers so that the best outcome can result. And finally, the importance of research and clinical trials, because without that and pushing the boundaries further, we can't advance.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see you looking so well.
Thank you so much.
30 years next year.
30 years next year, so we'll have a chat and see what's
Will you come back
happening.
and tell us about your new adventures
You'll be the
next
first
year?
one.
I've got a feeling there might be something
There's
big.
a little video that we've been showing, the first little clip of you, and it's the boys, you're singing, and it's the boys doing a strange little hippie dance thing. Is it? Which bit is it? I don't think it's the other one.
Oh, it's the other one. What is that?
And
Body
it's
shaking, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And
Is it?
You've got my body shaking.
You've got my body shaking.
Watch this, watch, wait.
Is it this?
Hold on.
This bit? No.
It's where the boys get their hips going.
They
We haven't
really-
got quite the bit. I tell you what, Kat has been literally talking about it ever since she's seen it.
I have, yes. Reminds me of... Go on.
Sorry, could I just mention that the charity is Lymphoma Out Loud?
Yes.
And the campaign, which I'm now ambassador for, is Know Your Nodes.
Brilliant.
Great.
Lovely to
Thank you
see
so
you.
much.
Thank you, John, for
Lovely
joining
to
us.
see you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. So after Julie Wilde unexpectedly died following a brain hemorrhage, her twin sister Deborah made the decision to not only donate her organs, but also her hands, hoping that they could change someone's life.
Corinne Hutton, who lost her hands and legs to sepsis in 2013, was that special person and in return gave Deborah the chance to hold her late sister's hands again.
And they both join us now this morning. Lovely
Good
to see you both.
morning.
It's
Good morning.
fantastic to have you here.
Yeah.
I've not seen you for a number of years, Corinne. Over the years, I've seen you after, you climbed Kilimanjaro, when you collected awards. I haven't necessarily seen you since. I think you had your hand transplant. It's amazing looking at them there. And of course,
Incredible.
Deborah, I wonder how that is for you, because of course, it was you that agreed to make the donation in the first place because of your gorgeous sister.
Together with her twin boys.
With her boys as well.
We made the decision that, her limbs can be donated as well.
It's an extraordinary story. Tell us a little bit about your sister. What was she like?
Julie was a beautiful soul, very kind, caring, lovely natured, do anything for anybody. She worked all her life in healthcare. She was originally working for NHS BT, where she took blood, and then went for about 25 years, then went on to be a phlebotomist in Sheffield Children's Hospital, which is a job she loved, taking blood from babies and children there, until one day in January, 6 years ago, where she suddenly became unwell. Nothing wrong with her at all, physically fit, no medical history. She just got a severe headache one day and passed away.
She sounds like a wonderful
She was
lady.
absolutely perfect. My best friend.
In the whole world, yeah. And what happened? Because she came to you and she said she got a terrible headache.
She did. I mean, I'd been working away a few weeks, so I was moving in that day with her.
Right.
And she was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I went up and went to the bath and she come running in saying, I've got a severe headache. Check my blood pressure. And I just said, Julie, you know, you've got a headache. Well, you know, take paracetamol. But then she started being a little bit confused, a little slurring her words slightly. So I just knew then that there was something wrong. I got her to hospital. So the onset of the headache to getting in hospital was about 40 minutes.
Right.
Where I was just booking her in when she started seizing and vomiting. So she became unconscious very quickly and I lost my sister there.
Right.
So sudden.
So sudden.
Very sudden.
So
So while she was unconscious, I got a specialist nurse came to see me who asked about organ donation.
Is it something
Julie was on the...
Had you talked about it together?
Yeah,
previously?
it had been mentioned. She worked for the blood service as well, and she got a card, and so she was on that service anyway on the list. So that was the easy decision. But then she said, "We need your consent for what do you think about limb donation?" Which is something I was quite overwhelmed with it to start with because I'd never really heard of it.
Neither had
it's
I.
Something you wouldn't think about.
Until I read about this incredible story,
No.
I had no idea that that there was even the medical capability to be able to do it.
So, like I say, I took it back to start with, but then I obviously agreed to it, you know, what it can do to change somebody's life. But then I just said, I need to ask your twin boys first, Sam and Tom. So I asked those and they said straight away, if it helps somebody, no problem, yeah.
And the amazing thing is, it has, not only have her organs helped somebody, but her hands have helped Corinne here. So Corinne, you have this extraordinary donation and we can see the manicure, which looks amazing, the hands that look incredible. Just tell us a little bit about how you came to lose your hands and your legs.
Well, I had pneumonia, just a bad cough, really, and pneumonia should be manageable, but it went to septic shock, sepsis, and I was unconscious for quite a while, completely out the blue as well, fit and healthy, and, you know, wasn't an angel, but, you know, I looked after myself as well, but just completely out the blue, and they had to obviously save my life as best they could and you know, keep the oxygenated blood in your vital organs. So for me, that meant the extremities were starved of oxygen and they turned black and blue, and that was a foregone conclusion eventually that they had to come off. So I lost my legs at the shins and I lost my hands just at the wrist.
And at that point, did they say to you, were you aware that you could get a transplant?
Yes.
Did they talk to you about it? And when they broached the subject, what did you think?
Well, I'd been through so many operations to get these amputations, so many panics. In my mind, my immune system had let me down. So I didn't really want to go for something that meant I was immune suppressed for the rest of my life. So I originally said no. It was the same surgeon that took my hands off that had been involved with Leeds and the hand transplants previously. So he had mentioned it early on and then raised again a bit later on, and I felt I owed him, I suppose, the opportunity to listen and check it out, and I thought I would be against it. But the more you realised how excited they were in Leeds about what they could do for me, it rubs off a bit, and you thought, why would I not want to?
But it takes a while, doesn't it, to find the right potential organ that you can use, the right potential limb that you can use, whether you're doing sort of an organ donation or a limb donation, even more complicated for you as well.
Yeah, I waited 4.5 years. Just I did so many blood transfusions that I had so many antibodies in me
Yes.
that would reject against the wrong hands. So we had to find the perfect hands and the perfect blood type and things. And I know it's...
And she was a perfect match.
She was perfect. And it's so opposites there. You're excited. I get so excited about my hands. I'm so proud of them. And I, as you see, throw them about and I, love them and do so much with them. But never, ever do I think of my hands without thinking of Julie and what the other family went through.
Yeah.
And it's the complete opposite.
But to see her gesticulating wildly and loving, it must actually give you...
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's funny, because watching you, Deborah, you just keep looking at her.
I mean, you just think when you die, to put it bluntly, your organs and your limbs are no good to you. And if it can change somebody's life, evidently, that's Corinne.
And the interesting thing as well is not just the practicality of having your hands and being able to do things physically, but just the emotion. You talked about just being able to stroke your little lad's hair.
Anything, just being able to hold his hand. He had to hold mine for all these years. So, it's the emotional things that I didn't like me doing that by the time he'd grown up, but that's okay. He's getting anyway. The emotional things you don't think of. It's touch.
I saw you being interviewed, of course, with Kate and Adel on G&B, just not long after you'd had the transplant, and you were talking about where you were getting with feeling in the hands. How is it now? How's your sort of movement and feeling?
Movement, my right hand is 95% functioning, apparently. My left hand is 75, which is just the difference of your dominant side.
Oh, I see,
which doesn't change, So, but the sensitivity and the touch isn't at that level, not like yours, but there's a delay, there's a bit of a delay, so I get there. Or if I've got a sore finger, then I don't quite know which finger it is. So it's complicated, really. But
you did notice,
brilliant.
though, as Kat took your hand this morning, you said, "Oh, you're cold." So you can feel that. That's amazing.
I feel that.
Have you held hands yet this morning?
Not today.
Can we? Yeah. Do you recognise them?
Of course.
Yeah.
They're still Julie's hands.
It's just mind-blowing, isn't it?
Do they still feel...
They do, yeah.
They're warm.
Does it remind you?
It does. They're Julie's hands.
Yeah.
Even though last time you said, I knew instantly they were my hands, they're still Julie's as well.
Yeah.
So they're still Julie's hands to me. And then it's amazing. They couldn't have gone to anybody better.
Thank you.
She was amazing as well, Deborah. And you and the boys being able to be sort of so altruistic and generous with regards to her organs and the limb donation, because it's a difficult thing for families when you've lost someone so quickly as well.
It's very brief.
It is. I mean, she saved 4 people's lives. They were a liver, pancreas and 2 kidneys. So she actually saved 4 lives, but transformed yours, Corinne.
Yes, it has, absolutely.
She lives on.
Yeah,
she does live on through her hands. What a legacy.
And as well, I know, Corinne, that you wanted to make the point that the limb transplant is a very specific, complicated thing, isn't it? It's not like donating organs.
No, and it's not on the organ donation list. Although there's the opt-out scheme, which is great and is progress, I think it's far better to opt in, actually sign up for the organ donation register. In that, you can tell people what you would like to or not. So I think, it's really important, but this isn't part of it yet, so you still have to make that big decision and answer that big question.
I just think it's miraculous.
It is absolutely miraculous.
I still can't believe she's not here, but she's here today.
You're holding on to her.
It's wonderful.
Which is magical. Thank you for coming in. Deborah, thanks for being brave and coming in and sharing the story. And Corinne, it's lovely to see you thriving and flourishing, as you always do. It's brilliant, really lovely.
And I just say that anybody out there, everybody's on the organ list now, but limb organs donation is not on the list. So you can talk to family, friends, if there was the unthinkable to happen, to donate your limbs.
Yeah.
I agree. Have the conversation. It's the most important thing.
Sure.
And you're testament to how extraordinary it can be if you do have the conversation. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
Gambling account. But what happens when a fun pastime becomes a spiralling addiction?
Sadly, that was the case for our first guest today. Sian McClere's gambling addiction got so out of control she ended up behind bars with her newborn son. And Sian is here with us this morning to share her story. Good morning, Sian.
Morning, Sian.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being
It's
here.
okay.
Brilliant. First of all, let's start off because you kind of got into it almost by accident. You almost fell into gambling by accident because you were going out for a night at the bingo.
So I was just going for a night at the bingo with work colleagues, friends, and they said, if you download the app, you'll get a free game when you go to the bingo hall.
Right.
So that's what I'd done. So obviously downloaded the app, and then, you know, you start getting emails, you know, have free spin on us. We've credited your account with like £1, say, and go on. So then I'd start going on. I've never ever played the games before, the casino games, never done it online. Started, and then obviously one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I was spending more and more, and it just became out of control.
Before it got to the point where it became out of control, though, was that quite a quick process? Because I'd imagine, Sian, if you hadn't done it before and there's something fun, you must have been winning a bit of money along the way thinking, God, this is great.
Yeah. So it's called like a significant win. And it wasn't so much. So about off 50p, I think I got 50p free and I won £50. And then I thought, well, that's easy.
Yes.
So I can do that again. That's easy money. And then that's then how it started. So it was only small amounts at first, but a lot, like frequently. Then it would become, OK, I've spent all the money in my bank, let's get payday loans, let's get credit cards, which I was able to do at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because you can go online and do it. So I was doing that, and then it just spiralled, and it was, well, what do I do? People can't know. There was a lot of shame around me actually having, you know, this addiction. I knew I wasn't very well, but I didn't understand it myself.
Yeah.
So, you know, what can I do? I can't go on. I can't tell my husband that I've got no money, that I've spent all the money in the bank.
You didn't have a close friend that you could tell. There was literally no one. You kept it a secret from everybody.
But it's also that feeling of being so isolated as well, because essentially what's happened is it's you and your phone, it's the middle of the night, nobody's around, and then you lose a significant amount and you think, you know what, in your own head, you're thinking, I can win that back.
I can win that back. That was always the thought. My mind was so distorted. I always thought, no matter how much money I'd spend, well, it's OK, because I'll win it back.
Yeah. Were you hiding it at this point as well?
Yeah, I hid it until I actually ended up, it all come out. And just before I got arrested, things like that, I hid it up until that point.
That's how bad it gets. Along the way, you had some more significant wins as well, though, didn't you? What was the biggest win you had?
The biggest win I had, £15,000, but I lost it in 6 minutes.
6 minutes?
6 minutes.
So you got that £15,000 in your bank account, you must be thinking, brilliant, I can cover some of my losses here. But rather than thinking that, you thought, I'm going to get some more.
Yeah.
6 minutes, Sian.
I thought I could turn 15 into 30. I thought I could get a put down, an amazing deposit for a house. That was it in my head, what I thought.
So you worked at the time in financial services, and then you started stealing money from work, didn't you?
So in my head, I never actually stole. And I know this sounds really strange, but in my head, I was borrowing to hide what I'd spent. So I never actually stole to actually gamble. I was stealing to hide what I'd spent out of my bank. But this was happening every day. So this was a couple of £1,000s every day. And so in my head, always lending the money because I was going to win and I was going to pay it back. Up to the point where I went for the interview with the police and they said, when was the last time you gambled? And I said, last night. And I'd actually took my dad's credit card at this point because I'd been sacked from work because I still thought I'd win and make everything OK. And the police were like, but you've still committed the crime. But I was that ill and not thinking straight that I thought, no, but if I win the money back, everything will be OK. Without
How much debt were you in at this point?
So debt-wise, I had numerous credit cards, payday loans. I'd stolen £323,000 from where.
Oh, Sian.
I know, and I could cry thinking about it now.
What was this time frame?
3 years.
300 and something thousand pounds in 3 years.
So the first year was like, I think it was around 2,000, and the police said they could see how ill and how much it spiralled. So the first year was like £2,000, and then going on the next couple of years, the rest.
Just escalated faster and faster.
Which is terrible story and heartbreaking story as it is. But then you also found out you were pregnant.
Yeah, so the day I actually got sacked from work, an hour before I'd gone in for the meeting, I took a pregnancy test, found out I was pregnant. So in that day, my whole world came crashing down around me.
When the police interviewed you and you knew you were pregnant, did the enormity of the situation suddenly hit you and,
Yes.
and reality in terms of... Because you had created this false reality in your head. And actually, when I listened to the podcast Hold or Fold, it's a thing that a lot of gamblers do, actually.
Yeah.
What was that moment like when the reality hit you?
Well, I didn't believe the police when they told me that's how much I'd stolen. I didn't believe that. I was like, no, I've not stole that much. So there was that. Also, before that, I was ill. I was self-harming. I didn't want to be doing what I was doing. I was not enjoying gambling anymore. Not once did I enjoy it. When I got to this point, it was like I had to do it. So at this point, I was already really ill, didn't want to do it. So the police actually turned around to me and said, you look like a weight's been lifted off your shoulder. And I said, it has, because I'm not a bad person. This is not what I've wanted to be doing. I've hid this secret, this addiction for 3 years from everybody, and now I can finally talk about it. I think if somebody would have asked me along that way about gambling, because it's never really talked about. I mean, people would ask about drugs or alcohol, but never gambling. And I think if somebody had, it would have been a massive release for me to be able to say, yeah, actually, I got gambling.
I think if it was alcohol, though, or drugs, there's a physicality that changes about you. But therefore, nobody could see any difference, so nobody asked. No. So then what happened next?
So obviously it took a year then from my interview to actually going to court and going to prison. So in this time, I knew I needed help. So 6 years ago, things have changed now, but 6 years ago, I went to the doctors and they said, just prescribed me with antidepressants. But because I was pregnant, I didn't really want to take them. So I knew I needed help. So then I went online myself and I searched up help, and Beacon Counselling Trust came up. They're the Northwest provider for gambling harm services. That came up, thank God I found them. They saved my life. I will say that they saved my life. They helped me with my gambling addiction. They helped me with the thought of going to prison and how to handle it with George, with my son and everything as well. So, yes, with that, and then obviously came to court and got sentenced.
And you suddenly got sentenced, Sian, and you realise that you're going to go to prison. You've got a little baby. And George went with you to prison in the end, didn't he?
So he did, yeah. So not for the first 2 months. He stayed with my husband. And it was so hard because he was only 4 months old when I got sentenced. And it was so hard. I couldn't look at a picture of him. So I had pictures of my family up and I couldn't look at a picture of him because I talked about him, but I couldn't look at a picture of him. And then, you know, my husband and my sisters or my family would come and visit and I'd go like that and he wouldn't come to me. And I was like, I can't do it. So we looked around and Style Prison, they've got an amazing mother and baby unit. And we decided, let's give it a go. Let him come in with us. And it was the best thing we'd done. He was going home over weekends with family and he was with me in the week. And it was the best thing that I could have done.
When I was reading about it, they can only stay until they're 18 months, though, because then the memory forms. And so it's great for him to develop this maternal bond with you straight away.
Yeah.
I think what's so interesting for me talking to you, you're so bright, you're so put together, you're so eloquent, and yet you found yourself in this kind of pit of despair where you just couldn't see a way out.
No, that's it. It can just happen to anyone. I think, obviously, the reason me doing this today and things is to show that it can happen to anyone. You know, I don't know, was I going through something in my life and I needed an escape? Is that why it happened? Or was it just purely that I just got sucked in and, you know, and the addiction just came, and it can happen to anyone.
You put your time... How long was your sentence in the end?
So I got 2 years, 8 months. I served a year in prison.
But you put your time to good use when you were in there. You got a degree.
Yes, you did.
So I applied for university with the help of the Longford Trust. They're a charity that they help prisoners go to university. I applied for that, so it started... When I came out in the January, I started my degree in the September.
Which was in?
in criminology.
And psychology.
Yeah.
A brilliant way of sort of trying to get through what you've experienced.
That's it, yeah.
And you're now working for the very charity that you say saved your life.
I am, yeah. So Beacon Counselling Trust, yeah. So I'm an early intervention and education lead. So we go into prisons, schools, we train professionals on the harms, of, the gambling harms. And obviously Beacon, they do treatment services for free. It's all free as well for anyone who is suffering and for affected others as well. So my family could have got help.
Yes.
Because it's a massive strain on families as well. So
that must have been a hell of a shock for your husband when you had to sit down and tell him.
What breaks my heart more than anything, he thought I was cheating on him because of the way I was on my phone, because it was all on my phone. It was secretive. Yeah, so it was, it's been a hard time, but we've all got through it, and yeah.
But Sean, you've turned it around. She's going off with George. He's 6 now.
Yeah.
Off for a school day.
Yeah. On Friday, school trip. Yeah.
You've turned it all around.
Yeah, Sean, we're going to do a phone in on this a little bit later on, but there will be undoubtedly people watching today that will be worried about maybe loved ones or maybe themselves with some sort of gambling issue or concerns about their interest in these apps that might be getting out of control. What would your advice be to them?
Just reach out. Don't do what I've done and hide it for all these years. I know how detrimental it can be, and how much how much your mental health can suffer. Call Beacon Counselling Trust. It's free. It's free advice. Just get the help that you need. There are specialists out there who are going to be able to help you. Speak to family and friends as well. It's such a hidden addiction, and there is a massive shame and stigma around it. I think we just need to talk about it more, normalise it. The same as drugs and alcohol addiction.
And you can turn it around.
You can turn it around.
You can turn it around.
Yeah.
Sadly, this is an issue many struggle with in the last 5 years.
Thanks for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Scenario for you to imagine. Being away on holiday, only to find your savings disappearing from your bank account right before your eyes.
That's what happened to Ian Finney and his wife when scammers took thousands of pounds from his bank account while they were on a cruise in Australia. They were the victims of an increasingly common scam that nearly all of us are at risk from.
Yeah, Alice Beer is here alongside Ian to warn us all about the SIM swap scam. I'm saying that very carefully, Alice.
Easy and slowly.
Ian, lovely to have you here. We'll talk to you in just a moment about what you went through. Let's just start, though, Alice, because SIM cards and SIMs are something we all have. We're all dealing with all day, every day. But just a little bit of explainer about it.
If you've got one of these, you've got a SIM card inside it. It is a subscriber identity module. That's for your pub quiz. That'll get you at least a point, if not a pint. So basically, that little chip, that little microchip, inside your phone is a link between your mobile phone network and your number. So it personalises it for you so that all your texts and all your calls come to you. Now, a SIM card swap is a very genuine service, and you might need it if you lose your phone or you change your network provider. If you've got a better offer, you say, OK, I need to migrate my number to another SIM card. And that happens, and that's fine. You want to keep your existing number. However, when a fraudster gets hold of enough information that they are able to swap your number onto their SIM card, then you're vulnerable, and so is your bank account. And that's what happened to Ian, because they then have access to everything. So last year, Action Fraud had over 2,000 cases of SIM card swaps. There'll be many more that weren't reported, we know, and that was double on the year before. So you can bet your bottom dollar that there's thousands of these happening all the time. And you need to be aware, because there are things you can do to be alert to it and to prevent it happening.
Well, I was going to ask you, how do they do that so we can kind of work out...
Let's go through the actual process, because it is complicated. But first of all, fraudsters get hold of your data. Happens every day. There might have been a data breach at someone who's got your information, a big organisation. You may have clicked on a phishing text or email that's been sent out from a SIM card somewhere. So they gather your information. Your information is in the wrong hands. What they then do is use that data to gather more information about you, maybe your email address, maybe your date of birth, for example. And then what they really want is your phone number. And once they've got your phone number, they can then contact your mobile network provider. They can pass all the identity checks because they've got your address, they've got your date of birth, and they've got your phone number, and it's not that hard to do. I'll tell you how you can prevent that later. They impersonate you and they convince your network provider to carry out a SIM card swap.
Right.
And they migrate your phone number to a SIM card that they've got. And then, from then, they have got control of your incoming texts and your emails and any incoming codes, you know, those verification
Yes,
codes
it's like
we
the
get the whole
steps,
time.
isn't it?
They've got access to that. And when they've got access to that, they've got access to things like your banking apps. And then you can literally sit back and watch money going out of your bank account, as happened to Ian, and you can't do anything about it at that stage because they have control of your bank.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? And
It's
terrifying
terrifying.
to hear.
Yeah,
We'll
Because
come
it
on-
doesn't sound that difficult
No,
either.
it sounds like a simple step process. Ian, this is exactly, as Alice said, what happened to you.
It is, yeah.
You were away on holiday?
Yeah, we were away just to add to the complication of it all, we were away in Australia.
So time zones, the other side of the world, yeah.
Different technology, doubts about whether or not your phone's working correctly, plus the time zone if you want to make any queries, any phone calls to banking operations in particular. And we first started noticing that one of our credit cards has been declined. Again, because you're on a ship and you're only getting off, you know, once every other day, you're not using your cards all the time as you would be at home.
Yeah.
So the first time it happened, you think, it's a glitch.
Well, you're also in
It's a
different
technical-
locations as
Yeah,
well.
we were moving around.
Yeah.
It's just a glitch. We use another card. Then when I got back onto the ship, I actually went into the card app. Couldn't see anything wrong, but then noticed some transactions on my current account that weren't from me. And then when I looked again at the credit card account, there was stuff going on.
And what sort
there.
of stuff? You were talking about
Well,
how much were they spending?
there was on the credit card, it was fairly common stuff. It was meals out, it was clothes, but then they'd actually put a deposit down on a holiday to New York.
Wow.
And I found out subsequently that they were trying to make a payment from my current account to my credit card account so they could pay the balance on the holiday. And we actually caught that in the middle of that going on. So that was quite lucky.
So what did you do, Ian? Like, what was your first kind of call to action?
Well, the first call of action was actually on the ship. Because, cards were going down, and I think we had one left.
So they're all stopping working?
They're all stopping. We had one left that was working. So we actually went and had a chat with the ship and said, look, this is the score.
Yeah.
And they agreed to give us a line of credit if we needed it until we got off and got home. So that was fine. There was no immediate worry for us on the ship. But it wasn't until we got home that we realised it was something bigger than just a card scam or a cloning of a card. It was actually the whole lot had gone.
Yes.
And at that time, we started to look at our savings account, and there was a substantial amount had gone from the savings account in a series of transactions into, I believe it was a Monzo account it had gone to.
So thousands of pounds was going?
Thousands of pounds, yes.
That must have been terrifying.
It was. I mean, for certainly a couple of weeks, we were in limbo. All the intentions were, if you've done nothing wrong, you'll get this money back. It'll just, a bit of investigation, bit of time, it'll come back to you. But until that actually happens, there's always that amount of uncertainty.
And you must have felt really vulnerable because you're trying to work out how on earth have I clicked on something that has meant I've been scammed?
Yeah.
Were you aware of the SIM swap scam before this?
Your first feeling is, as it is with a simple card scam, what have I done wrong? Where's it happened? Where's it been cloned? And you start to click through, and I'm just going over a period of a month, you start to click through, where has this happened? And then you realise nothing like that has happened. Your mobile phone company has sent a duplicate SIM to an address not connected to your account, that somebody's put in a phone, and then they've got everything they need to know about you. And as Alice said, the added implication is that we're now all pushed into two-stage authentication.
Yes.
I was sat trying to look at my accounts, trying to get into them, get in a message saying we'll send you a 4 or a 6 digit
code.
That never arrived.
No, of course.
I know that was now being skimmed off by the scammers.
Fraudsters, yeah.
They were then using it to get into my account and do even more damage.
Oh, so how do you discover this, Alice?
Well,
because you automatically go straight to credit card,
Absolutely,
first of all, don't
and
you?
Ian was on it. You know, who on holiday checks their accounts regularly?
Yes.
Not many of us.
Yeah.
Check your accounts regularly. That's good financial, security behaviour, of course. Never click on any phishing links because obviously they're harvesting your information. Your phone will stop functioning and you'll lose access to things. You will notice it when it happens. When it goes quickly.
Right.
And then you have to act. Report to your bank, get your account frozen, report to your mobile provider, get a case ID number from both of them so you've got control later. Get your phone number back. Get your mobile provider to get your phone number back. And if you feel there's been an unfair breach, you have to get in touch with a communications ombudsman because then you can actually do something about it, stop it happening again. But we have a responsibility here. And you did nothing wrong. We're all, the way we live our lives, we're doing things wrong now. We have to change.
Yeah.
We're leaving too much information lying around. We're leaving it lying around on all social media platforms, phone numbers, date of births, pets. I bet if I looked into your account, I could tell when your birthday is. I could vaguely find if you've ever done any planning applications. I could find where you live. I could find... I'm not going to stalk you, Ben, don't worry. But
Not again.
you need to enable those...
The restraining order is still in place.
Is it still in place, that restraining order? Oh, God, I thought I'd outlived that. Multi-factor authentication. Don't get irritated with it. Go into your settings and enable it. You've got to have that enabled. Don't respond to unsolicited texts. Set up a PIN with your mobile provider. That's a really important one. If they offer, go onto your mobile network provider website, see if they offer any extra layers, like another PIN, that when you talk to them, you give them that PIN.
So when
And
they
only
phone,
you
they say,
know
right, give
that.
us your PIN number and then we know it's you.
Yes, exactly. We have to do as much as we possibly could. And just one extra thing that we have so many software updates coming through at the moment. You've got to do them. And it's irritating because you've got to be connected to Wi-Fi. Your phone's got to be switched on. It takes a certain amount of time. Do your software updates because they're protecting you. They are protecting you. And there's a brilliant site called Have I Been Pawned? PWNED. And you can find out if any of your apps and websites have been subject to a data breach.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, it's really clever. I'll put it on my...
Yeah, please do.
Any other advice you'd say, Ian?
Again, just a couple of quickies from me. Firstly, the rules of my mobile service provider said that if they sent out a duplicate SIM, that the first SIM should have been stopped, which would mean your phone would stop working. That wasn't done in my case. So although a duplicate SIM had been sent out and somebody else was using it, as far as I was concerned, it wasn't an issue with my phone.
No, your phone was still
and that would have bought me another 2-3 weeks worth of time
Yes.
to have stopped and closed things down. The second thing is, as we've said there with the PIN, what you've got to do after all this is closed down and sorted out is to start reopening everything again. So you need a new email address, new phone number, you've got to think up new passwords, and you've got to contact various banks and credit cards. Big difficulty I had, and that took me probably 4 or 5 months to do overall to get things back up and running. The big issue I had was you would ring up the credit card or ring up bank account. They didn't know whether it was you or the fraudster that was actually ringing them.
Of course.
And there was a number of instances where one card in particular wouldn't speak to me for 3 months because the rector couldn't pass the security question.
And you wish that had happened in the first place.
Yes, that would have been amazing.
Why weren't you this?
You did good, Ian.
Well, look, we're glad you sorted it out, and thank you for bringing it to our attention. Alice, thank you for sharing as well, because undoubtedly it will make a big difference. People will hear that because we didn't know about
And
it.
it affects everybody, anybody who's got a mobile phone.
Thank you both.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Though he is a footballing icon, one of my favourite players of all time. 78 caps for England, 87 career goals, played for West Ham more importantly. He had a left foot that sent shivers down the spine of the opposition. Stuart Pearce is a true legend of our game.
But last month on a journey home from the US, he experienced a medical emergency mid-air when at 33,000 feet, his heart went into overdrive.
Now, thanks to the quick action of the Virgin Atlantic crew, the plane was able to make an emergency landing and Stuart was able to get the treatment he needed. in time to save his life. And he joins us now alongside his wife, Carol. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Stu, it's lovely to see you looking so well.
Yeah.
You're full of the joys of spring.
Of course, you've got to be, haven't you?
Yeah. Especially if you've had this moment that actually could have been a lot worse. Just explain a little bit about where you were. You'd been in Vegas, is that right? Had you been indulging in the typical Vegas way?
Well, we went to Vegas for 5 days, done a couple of shows, done the Punk Rock Museum, as you'd expect as well.
Amazing.
And more importantly, the rugby. We're Warrington Wolves fans, so we went out to watch Warrington versus Wigan.
So they were having a big sort of show game over there to try and find
one
American
of the
fans.
Super League games they took to Vegas for a profile for the rugby. Fantastic. So on the way back, just at the airport, my chest felt a little bit tight, a little bit heavy. I thought it may be a bit of indigestion or something of that nature. Got on the plane and it was just it felt as though someone was sort of sat on my chest, if you like. So after a couple of hours, I tried to sleep it off, to be honest with you. After a couple of hours, and I should have picked my wording slightly better, I said to Carol, I don't think I'm going to make Heathrow. I meant without telling the aircrew. Carol thought, he's pegged it. He's done.
He's pegged it. Have you ever struggled with your heart before or had any kind of medical conditions?
Nothing at all. As I say, my history of my family, nothing at all in that at all. My brothers and sisters are much older than me. They're fine. I don't drink. I don't smoke.
You really look after yourself.
Yeah, within reason.
So, Carol, you're sitting there, and obviously you know him inside out. For him to make a fuss about something physically, is that quite unusual?
Yeah, very unusual. Very unusual. Other than man flu, which I know is...
That knocks me off.
Well, it affects everyone
clearly a
terribly,
huge
doesn't
deal.
it?
Other than that, for him to say he's in pain, that immediately made my blood run cold because you think, OK, this is serious. Because Stuart doesn't do being ill, he doesn't do pain.
Making a fuss?
No, he played with a broken leg. I mean,
wow.
You kind of, so I knew it was serious when he said to me, you know, I'm not going to make Heathrow.
And then, so then what's the process at that point? Because, of course, you're in the air at this point, and you understand if you tell people, then there could be some ramifications.
Yeah, I mean, you went and spoke with the aircrew. They were magnificent on Virgin. I've got to say, one of the stewardesses come and sat next to me and went through the procedure. They've been trained, which really, going forward, we travel a lot. So going forward, it really put my mind at ease. If you are travelling, you're in really good hands, even if you're up in the air, in the main. They looked after us, moved us forward down the aeroplane, sat us up, hooked me up to a cardiogram.
An ECG
machine.
So they could track what your heart rate was doing. And then, so at the time, your heart rate was getting very fast, is that right?
My resting heart rate was 155 upwards.
Goodness me.
And how did you feel at that point? Were you then short of breath as well as feeling this pressure on your chest?
Just the real pressure on my chest more so. It was as though when you did breathe in, as though it wasn't sufficient for the demand, you know, slightly. But in the main, as I say, you're never sure, because I've never experienced anything like that. And I have regular checks with my union, the League Managers Association. Last summer, I went for all the checks and everything, no problems at all.
And at that point, when they've hooked you up, are the crew then talking to a medical team that are down on the ground as well?
Literally that, yeah. They hooked up with a doctor, send all the readings down there, put me on oxygen, and he's guiding them, but they're trained as well, which, you know, when people around you, you know, that are quite well trained, you know what I mean? It puts your mind at rest anyway.
I know one of the reasons you wanted to come in and share your story was so you could thank the crew as well, because they really did look after you brilliantly, didn't they?
Oh, 100%. I mean, firstly, the crew, and they were first point of contact, but on top of that, you know, the hospital in Canada was brilliant for us, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, bear in mind, you know, we were in Africa camping before Christmas, so if the same thing would have happened there, it would have been a very different experience.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, obviously, we're sat in the hospital bed watching the Forest Man City game, and they've done a minute's applause, and we're watching the game and think, hang on, one of the old Forest players must have died or something. I'm looking, hang on, it's me, you know what I mean? And I'm up on the board. It was really humbling. I must say, Ben, it was so humbling that, you know...
Well, there's a lot of love for you out there, which is important, but also,
lovely.
we know, because you wanted to thank her, we thought we'd bring her in today. Zoe Anderson.
Zoe.
Here's Zoe. Who's the onboard manager, who was exactly the person you were talking about, who came and sat down with you.
Great to see you.
As a surprise.
Morning, Zoe.
So you could say... Now, Zoe, thank you for coming in, by the way. Thank you for looking after this national treasure as well as you did, because we do worry about him. And it's an interesting thing that Stuart says is actually that you were able to sit down and talk him through and put a lot of their concerns at ease. What happens when something like that happens to an onboard passenger, and what was it like sitting next to Stuart and hearing what he was going through?
So we are trained to deal with these situations. We go through quite extensive training. So when things like this happen, you know, we're prepared to deal with it. So when Carol initially came and spoke to me, I sat down with Stuart, did the sort of initial assessment, because sometimes with chest pain, it could just be something simple. It might not be something as serious. But after talking to Stuart and knowing some of your symptoms, I think you said your pain was about 8 out of 10. It started to raise some alarm bells, so we thought we needed to sort of act on that.
And then you were talking to the medical crew down on the ground. I mean, I didn't even know that protocol existed. It's actually really reassuring when you hear the story.
Yeah.
And they said, OK, well, at this point, we've got to make a decision. Are we going to land the plane or are we going to take it across the Atlantic? And they didn't recommend that you did go across the Atlantic because then there would be nowhere to land. So what was the next stage?
So we had Stuart hooked up to an ECG monitor. Yeah. I think we're the only airline in the UK to have that equipment. So we were able to send that straight down to the doctor that I was speaking to. My colleague, the flight service manager, Callum, he was doing the readings while I was in the cockpit talking to the doctors. So we had all that information to sort of relay back and forth. And then obviously we did a few different readings. When they said that all of them were abnormal, we made the decision that we didn't want to be halfway across the Atlantic.
That's a heavy decision to make, Stuart. How do you feel when the crew say, right, we're going to divert the plane, we're going to land in Canada? Because there's a plane full of passengers that want to get home.
Yeah, there was a lot of rugby league fans on there, so I think they had a little bit of sympathy with me because I was one of them, if you like. But I was sort of in and out of consciousness. I was sleeping and then waking, sleeping and waking. And then next thing we know, we're landing in Newfoundland.
So you weren't really conscious that the plane had been done, because you were struggling, your heart rate and stuff. I imagine getting a bit of sleep is probably one of the most important things.
Exactly that. I was trying to sort of sleep it off and sleep it through. To be honest with you, I did feel slightly better going down the front, the oxygen and stuff like that. Aspirin was given to me to thin the blood and stuff. But, you know, I can't speak highly enough of the crew. It's quite incredible, honestly. I always felt as though if you get ill on an aeroplane, worst place in the world to be ill, you know, but it sort of gave me a newfound rest assuredness, if you like. You know?
And we landed in Canada in -11.
Yeah.
Having come from
23 degrees.
It was boiling, right?
So bless Zoe, she gave us a little care package with some water and snacks and stuff and a couple of blankets as well. So
really
she made sure we went up with,
And I'd imagine, Zoe, as well, I mean, Stuart's a high-profile person anyway, but there's going to be people on the plane, if suddenly you're turning around saying, we have a passenger with a medical emergency, we're going to have to divert, that can be quite scary for them as well.
Of course, yeah. So it was a team effort to make sure that Stuart, first and foremost, was being looked after. But the crew all worked together to make sure that everybody was calm and no one was worrying. So, yeah, it was a real team effort to make sure that everyone was looked after.
But I think it really stemmed from you, though, as well, Zoe, where you kept your cool. When, you know, when everybody else was kind of worried and concerned, rightly so, but you kept your cool. And I think that just kind of then reflected in everybody else as well. Is there anything you'd like to say to Zoe?
Well, we can only, as a pair, say thank you very much. You know, the professionalism that you showed on the day was brilliant. You know, if, you know, I was quite calm, reasonably calm anyway, I'm sure, but if you've got passengers that are very nervous and this sort of thing happens, and rightly so, that level of composure and the backup and the training as well, you said, no, it's OK, we've been, you know, you fully assured me, look, we've been trained at this, it's not a problem, you know.
It's definitely a calming influence.
Really good.
She kept us calm.
Fantastic. Credit to the...
Well, we're thrilled that you come in. Can we just check, have you worked out what it was? Was it just an anomaly?
They think a virus just attacked my heart. that they think I've got.
Was it because Warrington lost? Is that what it was?
The performance didn't end. It's like watching West Ham. So just watch yourself.
I love the ribbing.
Angiogram this week, echo next week. So
Yeah.
they'll just keep on top of it, and hopefully everything will be fine going forward.
We're thrilled that you can be here to share that story. And Zoe, to all the team, you did an incredible job. And it is, as Stuart and Carol were saying, so reassuring to know. Because often we'd all think, you know, we're up in the air, what have you got? But you're so brilliantly trained, and it really came to the fore. So thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you both.
Pleasure, and
Thank you.
thanks for having Zoe on today. I mean, we
Yeah,
didn't
it's
know,
fabulous.
you know what I mean? It was a surprise,
teary.
but absolutely brilliant.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And they've not even been married that long. This is what he's doing to her, by the way.
No.
Not already. Really?
Yeah.
You don't have to put up with him for.
When you say
that's
really,
worrying,
you're looking at my age, aren't you?
Really? Really?
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
As one of the radio hosts on the Capital Breakfast Show alongside Jordan and Sean, our next guest is usually the one to brighten up our mornings. But earlier this week, Chris Stark shared a very moving announcement on social media.
Yeah, Chris revealed that 2 months ago he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and although he caught the disease early, Chris believes that he should have spotted the sites even earlier.
After making an emotional return to his radio show, Chris is with us now today alongside Dr. Zoe in the hope that his story will inspire more men to get checked. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank
Morning.
you. I know you weren't expecting to be sitting here and
No, I didn't have
talking
this
about
on my 2025 bingo card, if I'm
No,
honest.
I am sure you didn't, but we're really grateful that you've come here this morning and you're going to have a chat. It was a routine doctor check, wasn't it? It wasn't to do with testicular cancer at all.
No, if I'm honest, if I'm being really honest, I don't really like going to the doctors. It's something I put off. I'd gone to the doctors about something else, and I was just really, really lucky that this doctor, who, you know, has been brilliant probably without realising here, asked me if there was anything else at all that was bothering me. And I had this little thing in the back of my head around, I'm not even sure the language that we're meant to use around this, if I'm honest. Am I allowed to say balls on
Yeah,
this?
doesn't matter.
It's happening.
Yeah.
I had a kind of weird, not feeling, I just wasn't sure about testicular cancer or problems in that area. And I just said to him, I'm not sure really what to do.
Yeah.
In that. It was kind of, I was awkward about it.
So there was something to do with your testicles that were sore, or they were a little tender?
Well, that was it. I basically just wasn't sure about everything. And whilst I was there, and he actually said to me, look, shall I just do a quick examination? And in that moment, I was like, yeah. And as he was doing that, it felt really sore on one side, but it's always felt sore. So I just put it down to, you know, if
Just
you play
one of those
football
things.
and you get someone kicks you
strain or something, yeah.
It's just something like that. And then at that point, he told me that it shouldn't really feel sore, and that could be a symptom of something else. It should be fine.
Right.
So he then sent me for an ultrasound, and at that ultrasound, I found out I have testicular cancer, or they strongly suspected it. And it was only then when they kind of made me push my fingers down on it that I could feel that lump. And I'd been avoiding that because there was a bit of a pain.
Well, because it hurt you.
But I just wrote off the pain as like, you know, it's your balls.
Aches and back. Yeah.
And that, if I'm being really honest, made me feel like an idiot, because the second I could then feel it, and the second they told me it was testicular cancer, or they thought it was, you know, I've got 2 kids, I've got a wife who I love very dearly, and I just sort of felt like, you know, you're an idiot. You're putting them...
You've kind of put these blinkers on when in the back of your head you knew something wasn't quite right.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I went to the doctors thinking that I've got testicular cancer. It was just lucky I went to the doctors, had a check. He happened to mention, you know, shall I have a look? And I guess that's what I really want to say today is, if this resonates with one person who maybe double thinks in the shower tonight to go check themselves, if it's a bit awkward and embarrassing, although I've got used to that embarrassment for me to talk about on the radio or the podcast or here, I'm happy to do that if the end result is one lad checks themselves or knows they've got something going on or thinks they might, but was embarrassed to go to the doctors and just go and do it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's really what I want to say this morning.
I think that the importance of what happened was, even though you could trace it back, and why on earth did I take this risk and not think about making that fuss? Fortunately, in that moment, thanks to the doctor, you did. you've had surgery, you had that quite quickly, that's all turned around, because that must be a real whirlwind as well, Chris. You know, 1 minute you've gone just to have a checkup, but the next thing, your whole world's changed.
Yeah, so I had the surgery, and the surgery is, again, it feels kind of unusual discussing this morning, but so the surgery, you know, you remove a testicle, which is kind of like, it's quite big news.
Yeah.
But it was fine. Like, honestly, I became really proactive, and I was like, right, let's just get that done. I was still doing the radio at the time. I've got to be honest, I was probably quite high on medication for a couple of those days I did. So sorry to Sean and Jordan.
Jordan said it was quite a week.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild. And I did that, and then I did the chemotherapy last week, which was a decision because it would help increase the odds of it not coming back.
Yes.
By having this one bout of chemo. You know, I'm also hyper aware that there'll be a lot of people who are watching this right now who are affected by cancer, either with a family member or someone's going through chemo and having a far harsher time than I am, which I'm very aware about when I try and talk about this, because I feel very lucky, and I'm aware that I'm a lucky one.
Mm-hmm. And so now you've done that preventative chemo, is the prognosis good?
Yeah, so my understanding of it is I'm effectively cured.
Okay.
They monitor you then every month, I think, for the next couple of years, and there is a chance this comes back. I don't know enough about it, actually, Zoe. I find myself constantly Googling, which is a terrible thing to do. But my way of dealing with all of this and being in communication with consultants and doctors has become a lot more proactive and positive. And you know, since I've been talking about it, I've been amazed by how many blokes, especially, have reached out to me in DMs and messages into the show.
Doctors have called up the show and said, oh my goodness, the number of people that are coming in for checks now, some people have had like 8 a day or...
Yeah, there was a doctor who got in touch, and this was one surgery, saying they'd had 8 people ring up for appointments to get checks.
Brilliant.
Which is, you know...
So that's already enough, Chris, to understand that it's made a difference.
Yeah,
you being brave and talking about it.
But what I really, really want to happen there is, like, there is a bit of a stigma around this area. We're literally talking about, you know, your privates. But just know, if you're thinking, oh, I should go to the doctors but not doing it, there are plenty of other lads who are messaging me right now who are doing it. Yeah. And I was one of those people. And I just don't want you to end up feeling like me, a bit of an idiot for not having done this sooner.
Yeah.
Zoe, just explain testicular cancer and the importance, as Chris was saying, of getting it early, particularly in young men.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing about testicular cancer is that it is very treatable, and over 95% of people who get it will survive it at 5 years. But obviously, the sooner it's caught, the higher the success rates. And yours hadn't spread anywhere else, so you know your chances of it not coming back with the chemo as well are very, very good.
I'd like to think I've got more than 5 years, Zoe.
Yeah, we tend to do that measure at 5 years, because if you clear it 5 years, then you're almost definitely
you're then
good.
Going onwards a bit.
Yeah, almost definitely good.
Well,
but, you know, this is a cancer that affects young men. It's one of those rare cancers that is more common in younger people than older people. The peak sort of age is early 30s.
That surprised me as
well. Yeah, but it typically affects people anywhere from the age of 15 up to 45. About 2,400 cases a year. And like I say, the survival is good if it's caught early. So I think what you're saying is, you know, absolutely right. If people are checking, like, you can't prevent getting testicular cancer. You haven't done anything wrong if you get it. You can't prevent it. But if you do get it and you detect it early because you're regularly checking yourself, then that's the best defence that men have.
Well, look, as you say, the checking is incredibly important.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning. The popular frozen drinks designed to appeal to youngsters thanks to their sweet taste and bright colours.
Yeah, not just youngsters,
I know you love them, don't you?
Parents, though, have been warned not to give slushies to anyone under the age of 8 after a spate of children were left hospitalised after consuming the drinks.
One of those children was 3-year-old Angus, who collapsed to the floor after drinking a raspberry-flavoured slushie. Angus's mum, Victoria, joins us now alongside Dr. Zoe to tell us more. So can you tell us a little bit about the day and what happened?
Yeah, so we were just heading out for the day. It was a normal day. We were all up getting ready, and our 3 oldest boys were going out for the day with our gran and granda. So myself and Dad and Angus and our wee girl Grace, we decided we'd go out for a while, and we came across a shop which had a coffee machine, and beside that was the slush machine. So Angus was like asking for the slushy, and he picked, like, of course he would pick the biggest cup that was there, and then he drank that, and he was really enjoying it. But then he was coming like quite like cold, but there was no really like obvious signs or anything like that. So we went up into our local B&M store, and he had a wee accident. Still, I didn't really think, like, I just thought it was because the slushy was like cold. It was a cold day. So I had a wee accident, and then he said he wanted to go home.
So suddenly, from being pretty
Just,
engaged
like,
and enjoying
really
himself,
fine, and
gets
then,
cold and says, "Mum, I want to go home."
And had a wee accident. Then after that, he sort of walked up another wee aisle in B&M, and he said again, "Mum, I want to go home." I said, "Dad's just going for the last like couple of things that we need."
Yeah.
So he had like walked up round the corner, and I looked behind me, but because I had the pram, I hadn't noticed straight away that it wasn't beside me. So I looked back another wee bit, and it was just lying on the floor, like really lifeless.
So Victoria, can I ask you, had he ever had a slushy before, and how old was he?
No, he's never had a slush before, no.
Right. And how old was he when he had that?
He was 3.
So, and when you say he had an accident, he didn't make it to the toilet, so he went very cold and he peed too?
Yeah.
Right.
And then suddenly he's collapsed on the floor, Victoria. I can't begin to imagine how that made you feel.
It was really scary. It was just happened so quick, and I started screaming that help, and somebody phoned an ambulance. The staff members in B&M that day went above and beyond, and they were really helpful. They phoned an ambulance. One of the staff members had been ran over to the local Tesco's to get the defibrillator, because they were told that on the phone, that like to go and collect one from the nearest point. As they were bringing it back, the ambulance arrived on scene along with air ambulance as well. And then the ambulance members came in and started working on Angus with the defibrillator. I was still screaming. I didn't know what was going on. It was just really unknown. I didn't think that that's what had made him like so sick that day.
So you had no idea at this stage. Suddenly your son had just collapsed for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
And you've got paramedics working on him with a defibrillator.
Yeah.
Was he out cold, or was he fitting, or what was he like at the time? Was it like
I think he'd had a seizure, but I didn't like see the full thing, because at the time I had the pram, so I wasn't like, you know, fully aware until I turned the corner and thought, no, something isn't right.
Yeah. And what went through your mind at that point?
I couldn't tell you at the time. It was just so scary. I just knew there had been something wrong.
And you've got older boys as well, haven't you? Had they had slushies in the past? Have you had
They
any
had
reason?
shared one in the summertime before, but it wasn't something that I always went and like bought them as a treat or anything.
No, and it wasn't something that you would have thought could have caused this sort of issue. So Angus then goes to hospital and he's looked after. He stays in overnight. What did the doctors say to you about why he was there and what had happened? When did you find out?
So they had ran some like blood tests through, and then came back to me and said that it was the slush puppy had drank that day.
And why had it caused that issue?
It was due to the glycerol that keeps it frozen.
And the glycerol means that he had had some sort of fit because of the glycerol in his system?
Yeah.
And so then how did they treat him, and how long did it take him to get back to normal again?
He stayed in the hospital overnight, just for one night with close observations, and then he got let home the next day.
And when they came to you and spoke to you about it, did the doctor say, we've seen this before, or I'd never heard of this before?
No, they did tell me that they had never like known anything like this before.
Wow.
Zoe, you've sat and you've listened to Victoria tell that story.
Yeah.
Any parent would be
Isn't it?
absolutely terrified by what she said. Seemingly an innocuous drink that is sold and has caused this without knowing. Can you just explain a little bit about how it happened and why it happened?
Yeah, so it's the glycerol content. So glycerol is a food additive that's deemed to be relatively safe. It's in lots of foods. So I've got a list here. It's in cheeses, processed meats, sweet beverages, chewing gum, cereal bars. It's even in tortilla wraps. And what it does, especially why it's in slushy drinks, is it stops it becoming an ice solly. It stops it freezing.
Right.
So it keeps foods moist. So it's in lots of foods. But in these slush drinks in recent years, because there is pressure on the industry to remove sugar from drinks and beverages especially, the content, the amount of glycerol has gone up. So glycerol is a sweetener, and it also stops it from freezing. So the amount of glycerol in these drinks has gone up, the concentration. Now, if you're somebody who's got a low body weight, a large slushie, there may be enough glycerol in that to cause what happened here. It's called glycerol intoxication syndrome, and it's not only happened to Angus. There are around roughly 20 children in the UK and Ireland where it's now, looking back, the BMJ have done a review and found that in small children, if they have a high enough dose, then, so Ben, you'd be fine having a slushie, but a small child may not be.
Sure.
So there is voluntary guidance from the Food Standards Agency currently, which says children under the age of 4 shouldn't have slushies, and children under the age of 8 should only have one. But the BMJ and some scientists and experts are calling for that to be changed, and either the weight of the child, but that gets very confusing for parents.
Of course.
But actually,
Put them on a weighing scales before you give them the slushie.
Yeah, so the easiest way they're suggesting is actually they should raise the age to 8. So children under the age of up to the age of 8 shouldn't have slushies at all. Yeah. And really everybody should just be thinking about maybe just having one and certainly not having free refills, which are offered, I believe, in some establishments.
You're a mum,
as
though.
well.
You've got a little one.
And do you know what? It's purely by coincidence. My little one, who's 3 years old, asked me for a slushie last week. We were at a trampoline park, these sort of places.
It's always kids' places.
And there were lots of birthday parties happening there. And, of course, a slushie is not something your child should be drinking regularly anyway. There's no nutritional benefit to it. But as a treat, once in a while, alongside, other types of treats, it's something that I think we've had when we were children.
Or a candy floss at the fair.
Exactly.
It's exactly that.
So he asked me for one. And I guess it was I actually said to him, no, you can't have it till you're 12. I don't know where that came from. That just came out as a natural instinct. But, some people are calling for them to be banned together, and I completely understand why. And I think that's something that you feel, don't you?
Yeah.
But if we start banning slushies, there are probably lots of other things out there that we should be thinking about banning as well. So demonising glycerol as a food additive on its own is probably not the answer.
No.
But I absolutely think that it is important that we're looking at how we prevent this from happening and ensure that parents are aware of the risks, which is why this is so important.
So, Dr. Zoe, if someone, just so parents are aware, because I'd never heard of this ever, and we go to exactly those places, and my kids have had a slushie before, for sure. What should you be looking for? Obviously, always get a very small one, if you can. And what are you looking for? What are the symptoms?
So the symptoms that Alfie had were quite severe. So he had this syndrome. What's actually happening in the body is your body, it's like getting dehydrated. So the glycerol actually sucks a lot of the water in the body into the blood system. Right. So it's a bit like when you're in a hot bath and you stand up quickly.
Yes. Okay.
So the sort of commonest symptoms are nausea and headache, and deemed quite mild. But what actually happened is you can get a low amount of volume. You can get dehydrated, essentially being dehydrated, so hypovolemic shock.
Right.
You can get a low blood glucose as well, so hypoglycemia. It alters the amount of salts in your blood, the potassium in your blood. So essentially that can make you very, very unwell. And as we've seen in around 20 children.
Well, look, the good news is Angus is absolutely fine now. He's just over there with Vicky. Come on in, Angus. Come and say hello. Come see your mum.
How are you doing? Yeah. Hi, gorgeous.
Angus. Hello.
Oh,
and he's doing fine now.
Mama.
He's doing so well.
And what's your advice to parents out there that have got little ones that fancy a little treat like that?
Just would not
Don't take the
recommend
risk.
it. I would rather they would get banned, but I don't think that will ever happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that's lovely to see you, Angus. He's like, I don't care. I've got my mama.
He was
and I don't
bouncing
care.
around downstairs having a lovely time.
Aww.
Well, I'm glad to see that he's back and he's full of beans and everything's good.
And thank you for coming on and chatting about it, because I'd never heard of that ever before. So it's just good for everybody to be aware of.
I think there are so many people out there, this will be the first time they've become aware, and, you know, now people will take caution where they may not have done before, and that's so important.
Absolutely. Thanks, Victoria.
Thanks, Angus. Nice to meet
Thank
you.
you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Yesterday, friend of the show, Capital FM host Chris Stark revealed his secret battle with testicular cancer in a moving post on Instagram. He said he wanted to share the news because, in his words, he felt like an idiot for not spotting the signs earlier on. His post has opened up a conversation about checking yourself regularly.
We're obviously sending all our love and support to
of
Chris
course.
and all of his family. But it was after checking herself that 57-year-old Nicola Deadman was diagnosed with breast cancer, meaning she needed a single mastectomy. The operation left Nicola without a nipple on her right breast.
But today, permanent makeup artist Emily Ponte will be perfecting a realistic nipple tattoo for Nicola. The pair are here to carry out the treatment live, alongside Dr. Zoe to tell us more about the process. Good morning to you all, ladies.
I think I might be nicknamed you Nippola as well. In there as well.
It's really good.
There's Nicolas and there's nipples involved. It's going to be quite a morning.
Yeah, it is. First of all, Zoe, let's talk to you first of all. It's so important that people check themselves, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, thank you to Chris for sharing something so personal, because it will save lives. It's that reminder that whether you're male, female, any gender, we need to be checking ourselves. It's the best defence that we have against cancer, because if cancer is detected early, then we stand the best chance of survival.
And it's men and women too. That's the thing. You should both sexes should be checking their chest.
Yeah, absolutely. So breast cancer can affect men and women.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all need to be checking our breasts and chests roughly once a month. Get into the habit of doing it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. You know, the first time you're not trying to find a cancer, or you're just getting used to what's normal for you, which means that if there is a change, you've got the best chance of detecting it.
Okay. So Nicola here went through a mastectomy. Can you just explain the differences with various mastectomies?
Yeah, so mastectomy means removal of the breast.
Yeah.
So a sort of standard mastectomy, a total mastectomy, means removing the breast tissue, the skin overlying and the nipple. There are various different variations. Sometimes you can have a nipple-sparing mastectomy where the nipple remains, or a skin-sparing, especially people who are having prophylactic mastectomy, so people who are at high risk of getting breast cancer but don't have it, who can have a reconstruction immediately, then that might be offered. Sometimes people need a more radical mastectomy, which can even mean removing the muscles underlying the breast tissue. But in most cases, for people who are being treated for breast cancer, like Nicola, the nipple would be removed and can be reconstructed at a later date after all the treatment's completed and the breast has been reconstructed.
Right. So, Nicola, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. You look so beautiful and glowing with health. What was life like before your diagnosis?
Yeah, I was out there enjoying life, living it to the full. Yeah, just having fun.
Yeah. And then what happened? How did you find out about it? Because it was actually you that discovered it.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Well, I'd had a check-up in March, had a mammogram and an ultrasound and got the all clear. Then come September, I just noticed this side, the nipple was sinking in.
Right.
And I thought, first of all, given like my age, I thought, oh, is it something to do with the menopause? So I left it a week and it happens again. So that's when then I made the phone call and it was the correct phone call.
Yeah. And you went and you got that diagnosis and you found out that it was cancerous. How did you feel when that suddenly became apparent, Nicola?
It was a shock, but I'm under the Royal Marsden in South Kent, who are absolutely amazing. So I knew straight away I was in the safest hands ever, and that they said this is treatable and curable. So once I knew that, it was like, okay, let's get this show on the road. Let's sort out this little problem and get it gone.
I love your positive attitude. It's literally like, let's sort out this little problem. Let's just deal with it. So what was the course of treatment? So first of all, you had an operation.
Yeah.
Then what happened?
So I had the mastectomy in December 2023 with instant reconstruction, and I had the Dieppe flap, so it's where they took my stomach muscles and stomach skin and rebuilt me.
Right.
And then where they'd removed 6 lymph nodes, unfortunately, it was in all 6 lymph nodes. So straight away they said, well, you've got to have chemo. So I had in the February 8 rounds of chemo, which took me up to June. Because it had been in the lymph nodes, they then wanted to do the axillary clearance and remove the rest of my lymph nodes. So I had that the 10th of July, and then the 19th of August, I started radiotherapy, and I had 15 rounds of radiotherapy to the 6th of September, and then I went back to work on the 16th of September.
Wow.
She's a hero.
Just get on with it.
She's a hero,
and
gladiator.
how have you been since then? What's been that process like?
To be honest, if you probably ask my friends, I've not really changed. I'm still go out and party and still enjoy life, and even more so now.
Yeah, quite
Even
right
more
too,
so.
because there's a value to it you can really appreciate. But of course, you had the mastectomy and you had the nipple removed as well.
Yes.
So is that something that you've been considering? Is what you could do about that?
Yeah, it's something that I've wanted done, but you have to go on a waiting list for it, and obviously because it's cosmetic and not urgent, hospitals obviously want to deal with the cancer issues, which understandably that does come first. So yeah, I'm just on a waiting list to have this done. And I've got this opportunity to get it done today.
Right, and the person doing that is Emily. Good morning.
Morning,
Emily.
Emily. Morning.
So tell us a little bit about the procedure and what exactly you're going to be doing.
So the procedure is like a realistic tattoo.
Right.
And we are, using kind of highlights and shading to create that kind of depth, so it looks like a 3D areola stroke nipple.
Right.
So obviously, because Nicola's had a single mastectomy, she still has the other nipple on that side. So the key is to try and match that together. So trying to match up colours, match up obviously the positioning, which we have done some measurements already.
You first met a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? Had the initial consultation.
Yeah. So we had the consultation where we go through, obviously all the medical history, what Nicola's been through. Again, you said positive, that she's just amazing.
Brimming with it. If you could bottle your positivity, that's what you want to do.
So we went through the consultation, and that's when I was going through, just getting those rough measurements just to see how, and then going through colours and things, so I know kind of what I'm going to be using on her. And that's usually what the consultation process is.
And Nicola, as Emily said, it's important that we kind of match both breasts up. So you're okay with
I'm
this
really
morning?
happy. I can't wait for it to get
You're
done.
very comfortable to do it live on television.
Yes.
I mean, doing this, Nicola, is an extraordinary thing for you to share, and hopefully will make everybody else at home, sitting at home, feel sort of more empowered to feel like they could have it done as well.
That's what I'm hoping.
I think there's still so much stigma around breasts, isn't there? But they're a part of our bodies, and we are going to, Nicola's, very brave. We're going to see the reconstructed breast and briefly see Nicola's other breast today as well, so that people can understand.
Okay. Well, Emily, if you'd like to get started, and Nicola.
Yeah, so we're going to show just what we've done just so far. So obviously this is the breast that we're going to be working on. And so as you can see here, this is obviously where she's had the operation, the diet flap. This is just a little mock-up. Obviously, it's not going to look like that when it's finished. That's just purely like a guide. And then obviously we are just going to show the other side just quickly, just so you can kind of see. Now, Nicola's other breast is actually quite pale. So what we may do is actually match up a little bit that colour. So although I want to match that up, I feel like this needs a little bit of additional colour as well, just to kind of get it as close as possible.
So you will add colour to the right breast to match... Sorry, the left breast to match the right breast?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I will do this first, and I'll work with some kind of light sort of pinks and, get that initial template on. And then obviously we will then match up to the other side.
Okay.
So that's kind of...
And in terms of, we were talking permanent tattoo, this isn't like a tattoo if you're going to go to a tattoo parlour, is it? What's the sort of the scenario and the pain?
It's not. It's very similar. I feel like there's a misconception in the industry that we do permanent makeup, stroke semi-permanent makeup, and tattooing is different. It's pretty much the same. We use tattoo pens, the exact same. We use the pigments the same. There's different variations of pigments and inks that you can use. Tattooists might call it slightly differently. But when it comes to putting it into the skin, the depth is the same. So it's a tattoo. It's a cosmetic tattoo.
Tattoos tend to hurt, though.
Yes, I was just about to ask that question.
I don't have a tattoo, but all of my friends that have had them say that they aren't comfortable things to go through.
Again, it depends on the technician. It depends on how they work, on how superficial the work, or how... I'm quite a light-handed worker, so I tend to work quite light, but just add layers over time. Also, when we're dealing with a mastectomy, you'll find that tissue is numb. You don't feel nothing. So she may feel a little bit on the other side, but we're not going to do much on the other side, because we're just going to add a little bit to the areola area. And I work very lightly, so it's actually not really painful at all. But this side, she shouldn't feel anything.
And what's the response normally like from women after you do this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's very mixed, but it's an emotional journey. I think from my point of view, I just feel honoured to be able to give back and you'll make me cry and to be able to just almost be that end part of their journey, because I think they've been through so much and it obviously has been such an emotional ride. So, yeah.
Should we get started?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Otherwise, you're just going to be weeping women around.
If you introduce a little bit of pain, then it might stop everyone crying.
I cry when I see people cry, so...
If you want to sit back...
yes, so we're going to take this one off, because we have a disposable gown. So when I'm working, because we're doing, obviously, tattooing, we're piercing the skin. So I'm going to pop this somewhere.
Here,
thank you.
Yeah.
Right then, Nicola.
Yeah, good.
OK, so obviously I'm going to start on this side. We've got our measurements already.
Yeah.
So it's really a case of just kind of reinforcing some of those areas, just to give me a bit more of a template. I change needles. I do, various different techniques throughout my...
It's incredible that you can do this, though. Absolutely incredible.
OK, so...
So I imagine that you've seen a fair few sort of reconstructions like this and bits and pieces, so you'll have seen the difference that it makes to the patient as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as Emily was saying, it really is that final stage in the journey, because often women will have the breast reconstructed and it's even if the NHS service is operating perfectly and they don't have to wait, women will still wait at least 3 months, usually more like 6 months before they have the breast reconstruction. That's because once the breast is reconstructed, over the next few months, it will settle into its final position. So in order to work out the correct placement for the nipple, so it really is that kind of final bit of the journey before they then go and, get on with their new life.
But it also must make the biggest kind of mental difference to them as well, because it's never just about the physical, it's never just about the outward appearance.
100%, the quality of life, and, we're still quite, there's more to be done, because I think when it comes to supporting women on that journey, particularly, women of colour, when it comes to ensuring that another thing you can get a silicone nipple that can be glued into place. They last about 3 months, but, we're now on the cusp of making sure that there's a full range of skin tones, etc.
So, Emily, just sort of explain what it is that you're doing.
So here I'm doing, obviously, where I've got my template with the pencil in. Now I just want to reinforce that very gently, so it's just getting that little template in. Like I say, at the end, it's not going to look flat.
Yes.
Afterwards, I am going to be starting to use some shading and highlights throughout to create that kind of depth and 3D appearance.
Yeah.
So I just go very lightly just to check. So you can see already I've got like a template in there. So I work really lightly. How do you feel, Nicola?
Fine. Can't feel a thing.
You can't feel anything at all? Excellent.
So can't feel a thing.
We're going to let you guys carry on, let you work a little bit of magic, and we'll check back in with you later.
Amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing, Nicola.
Yeah, you are.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you.
Earlier, we met 57-year-old cancer survivor Nicola, who this morning has had a nipple reconstruction tattoo by expert Emily Ponte.
Yeah, Dr. Zoe's alongside Emily and Nicola. So it was more or less over an hour you've been having the procedure done. You just got to have a good look at it downstairs. This is the moment that sort of you were able to really examine, Nicola, how the tattoo's looking. Let's just see this.
Go for it.
Oh, wow. That's looking human again.
What do you think of the colour? Oh, bless you.
You've been so courageous and brave, Nicola. A testament to your energy and who you are in life is about living, and you were very honest about being able to share this experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you want to have a proper look at it as well, but how has it been for you and how do you feel about it?
It's just, I can't thank her enough what she's done. It's actually been a pleasure. It's just, I didn't feel anything when she was doing it. It's like, I was having a little lay down, basically.
Not quite the same as usual lay down, for live telly. Emily, there's a moment there, though, when you heard Nicola say, it looks human. You know, that's such an important sort of bit of credit and sort of identifying the reality of that for...
It's just, it's such, like I say, it's such a humbling process that we go through, and it is emotional because it's that final stage, you know, when they've been through so much, and then to kind of get that final... I think we just take for granted having two of things, you know, two nipple, you know, two areola areas. We kind of take that for granted, I think. Yeah. So when someone has lost that, just being able to give that back is just, it's amazing.
How will it affect your self-confidence, do you think, Nicola? Because we were talking with Zoe earlier, and it's not just the physical thing that you go through with cancer, it's also the mental stress.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it will make me feel more confident. You know, I can't describe it. Like I said, it just makes me feel human again. I've got my body back.
Zoe, what should people be doing to make sure that they're checking themselves?
Yeah, I mean, the advice is to check roughly once a month. Nicola wanted me to mention she didn't have a lump. She had a lobular breast cancer, which usually doesn't cause a lump. So it's not just lumps you're looking for. It's any changes to the skin, to the nipple, any puckering in of the skin or the nipple, which is what Nicola had, or any changes to the size or shape of the breast. And both men and women need to be checking. I think people often get bogged down with how do you check? What's the correct technique? How do you do it? Do you know what? Doesn't matter as long as you're doing it in a way that you're checking the entire breast. So you can do something called a spiral technique, start in the middle, around the nipple, and feel all the area all the way around in circles, including the top bit of the chest, just up above the collarbone and the armpit. For men, it might be easier to, I call it the lawnmower technique, make sure you do all that area. If you have larger breasts, imagine your breast in 4 quarters, that can make it easier. And Dr. Sarah's got a tutorial on the This Morning app where she demonstrates how to do that with larger breasts.
And I think with men or with women, it's also just to be vigilant. Be vigilant of changes, because that's what you really notice. Any changes that you see, any changes that you feel, don't just put it to the back of your mind, go and see a doctor.
And I think if it's not normal for you, then go and get it checked out.
Yeah.
And people have changes with their menstrual cycle before menopause. So, you know, in that case, if you think it might just be down to your cycle, monitor it for 2 weeks. But if it hasn't gone away after 2 weeks, get it checked.
Emily, can I just ask, how long will the tattoo last? Will Nicola need some sort of moments to come back and have it
So she'll
updated?
come back in about 6 to 8 weeks for a kind of touch-up. It's almost that perfection stage. They tend to fade a little bit upon healing. Obviously, when you have had a mastectomy, you're dealing with scar tissue. So scar tissue can be quite unpredictable as well. It's obviously a little bit more tender, more sensitive, a little bit tougher to work on. So you might find a little bit more fade in, so that second stage. And then after that, you're looking at, it lasts for years. It's in the skin kind of relatively indefinitely, but it will just fade over time. So, you know, anything between 2 to kind of 5 years is you'd come back for a touch-up. So it's very much a personal thing, and as you know, how it might be they want to come back and get them a bit darker or... but I just wanted to highlight that it's just kind of almost raising awareness for this service as well. I think I'm really shocked at the amount of people that come into my clinic that do not know that this is available. And myself, as well as lots of amazing artists up and down the country, do offer this for free. We do monthly free clinics, and just want people to reach out really, because it's, you know, it does build up that confidence. So,
and the difference that's made, you can already see it in you there,
and we haven't
Nicola.
actually finished it either.
You've not quite finished. There's more to do.
Not quite finished it. It's kind of, you know, we want to get a little bit more in there, but yeah.
It's been lovely to have you sparkling on the sofa.
An amazing teteamwork of ladies, right? Collection of ladies
and
right
the
there on the
fact
sofa.
that I christened you Nicola this morning as well.
You have to rename me.
I like that.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
From the House of Commons to the gates of the scriptwriter's son's school, creator Jack Thorne is here now to tell us about the incredible reaction that the drama has had. Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations. It's so rare that something that's written so brilliantly, shot so beautifully, creates such a conversation amongst everybody. Doesn't matter where you're from, what your background is, so many people are talking about this show. Did you ever expect it to be that huge?
No, not to any degree. It's been overwhelming, to be honest. What I did know was that I was working with the most extraordinary group of people and that we'd made something that we were incredibly proud of. and Netflix were excited by it, and then they put it on, and it's just exploded, and we're all sort of reeling from it.
I bet it's a bit overwhelming. I'd imagine
Yeah. And I'm not used to it. I've been writing TV for 20 years. I've been trying to write drama that has impact for 20 years, and then this show has just sort of slammed through many doors that I've wanted to be open for a long time.
You and Stephen have this extraordinary relationship, which is really, really palpable. Can I ask a question? Because, of course, as Kat said, it's beautifully shot, it's extraordinarily acted, it's so well written. What came first? Did the idea of doing a one-shot drama come before the content, or was it the content that Stephen had that then sort of lent itself to the one-shot drama?
So Stephen and Phil Barantini, our amazing director, made this film Boiling Point. And Plan B, which is Brad Pitt's company, brought Phil in to talk to them and said, what about trying to do something in the television space? What about trying to do a one-shot TV drama? And he said, oh, that could be really interesting. And he took it to Stephen, and Stephen said, I'd like to look at knife crime. And that was the starting point of all our conversations. And then, thankfully, he brought me into the mix, and I was like, yes, please, show me where to sign.
It's amazing, isn't it, how they all sort of complement each other so brilliantly.
And, like, right place, right time, too. How much did you know about toxic masculinity before you started writing, and how much did you then reveal the layers of the onion and suddenly understand more?
So when Stephen first talked to me about it, the one sort of stipulation he made was, I don't want this to be a drama that blames the parents.
Yes, which I think is really clever.
It's really important.
Yes.
And that thing of just going, this is not going to be about an alcoholic, abusive dad. This is not going to be about controlling mum. This is not going to be that sort of story. We want to look inside this all. But that then left an issue of how do we create this boy? And we wanted it to be that blame is diffuse, that it's not just as simple as going, it's this, it's that, it's the other. But we did need more than we had. And someone that worked with me, Mariella Johnson, said, I think you should look at incel culture. And I had some understanding of it and some, I'd read articles about it, but I hadn't really gone down those holes. And then I spent a long time in a lot of very strange places, looking at a lot of strange content. And the thing that surprised me was how attractive it was.
Which is so frightening.
It's so frightening. Yeah. And that thing of going, if I was a 13-year-old boy and I was told there is a reason why you feel unattractive, there's a reason why you feel isolated, there's a reason why you're not sure how to talk in certain situations, and that's because the world is against you. And the reason why the world is against you is because 80% of women are attracted to 20% of men, that this world is female-dominated, and you need to find ways to reset the balance. And the more of these videos I watched, the more convincing I found it. And that's when I started to work out how we could write Jamie.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a father yourself, of course.
Yes.
We've all got boys. Like, my boys are sort of a bit older, your boys are not very far off.
Mine's
Jamie's age.
9 and 6, so I'm like 4 years out.
Yeah, my boy's almost 9.
Yes.
So I'm in exactly the same place. Exactly the same place.
And there will be parents who are watching it and undoubtedly have watched it, and it will be terrifying. I mean, it's up the anxiety levels for parents trying to navigate those things.
Yes.
There's a responsibility that comes with that, Jack, isn't there?
There is. And what we're not saying with this show is that there's loads and loads of Jamies out there, that there's, that because your son is in his room and he's shut the door, that means that he's going to inflict harm on another person. We don't want to be a show that suggests that. Jamie is a product of a lot of different things, but at the same time, being aware of what your kid is consuming, being aware of what's out there, I think is really important. And it's awoken anxiety in me, and it's awoken conversations with my wife about how we handle all this and how we help Elliot through it all.
The fact that it's been talked about in government, the fact it's been talked about absolutely everywhere is testament to that.
Did that amazing speech too.
Yeah, Gareth Southgate, the Dimbleby lecturer. I asked the viewers for some questions for you.
Brilliant.
I'd like to share these with me. Sharon says, are we going to get a second series exploring Katie's story? And Kathy along that saying, the last episode, it feels like it's left it open for more. I know you're still reeling right now from the impact of this, but would the two of you be up for trying to do more if the opportunity was there?
I'd say two things to that. The first is, I don't think we're the right people to tell Katie's story.
Okay.
So I think there are other makers out there that could tell beautiful dramas about Katie or girls like Katie, and that those shows should be made. Our aim was to try and tell Jamie's story as fully as we possibly could, and maybe trying to tell her story would dilute that in some way, or maybe we would be inadequate to that task. The second thing in terms of a second series is I think Jamie's story is finished. I don't think there's anywhere more we can take Jamie. So I don't think there is a series 2. We'd love to explore the one-shot format in another way. We'd love to tell other stories with it, but I don't think a series 2 of Adolescence is quite right for us.
It's so interesting how you say Jamie's story is finished, but so many other little boys and little girls' stories are just beginning.
Yes.
Where would you like to see this going? What would you like to see the influence of this amazing drama?
I hope what this show does is it doesn't provide easy answers. It doesn't say, this is the way to solve this, this is the way to do that. I hope what it provokes is conversations on the sofa, conversations in classrooms, hopefully conversations in government. You know, when I was a kid, watching EastEnders with my mum and talking to her about what was on EastEnders that week, they were the best conversations we had. They were the best. They were the bits where we got inside what it is to be a human, you know, and what you... And those have been the best emails I've got about this too, has been, like, people saying, I've had conversations with my kid that I've never had before because of this show. And that is where I hope our sweet spot is, in creating conversation.
You've done exactly that. Anthony says this is one of the best series I've watched in a long time. Great acting, it was real, raw, emotional. The strong message was loud and clear. The ending was perfect. Susan, Adolescence is absolutely brilliant. A sensitive eye-opener for all. Thank you for everything. Jack, honestly, it is an extraordinary bit of drama. We've loved it, and we will continue to talk about it as well. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. You can watch Adolescence on Netflix now, and Owen Cooper, who plays Jamie, will be live on Thursday.
Can't wait to meet him as well.
He's amazing.
So much to talk to. Thanks for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
We're having presents already and we haven't even started
This is
chatting
amazing.
yet.
So hold on, Maggie, you've just given me this, or I pinched it. Tell me what's in here.
So 2 bracelets that I made and some confetti things from...
Actual golden buzzer confetti. That is really precious. That's amazing. Thank you so much. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, and then Katie just gave me a headband as well that one of the mums has been making. Is that right?
Got loads of those.
Love
Gorgeous.
it. Love it. Thank you so much. Well, we've been joined now by Electric Umbrella founders Tom Billington and Mel Boda, alongside some of their incredible bandmates, Katie, Jamie, Maggie, Jonathan and Raphael. First of all, have to say, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I mean, it was the most spectacular piece of TV. You were sat there with your kids.
Yeah.
I was sat there with my kids. We were all crying, all cheering.
Yeah, you made us cry.
It was brilliant.
Thank you.
It was just the most remarkable thing
Thank you so
to
much.
watch. It was so
Yes.
joyous. Tom, how did it feel for all of you guys?
It felt like we've been doing this for 10 years. So every day we're out in schools, we're bringing people together, we're running sessions, we're building instruments, we're reimagining things and people and writing songs and all that. And that happens all day, pretty much every day of the week.
Yeah.
So for us, it was like a real moment of coming together, that all of that, suddenly people are starting to see us, see our guys as the rock stars that we actually are. And just, hopefully it'll mean next time they're interacting with someone who looks or sounds different or has a different a way of working, that they'll just have that little bit more of understanding of what it's all about.
But there was all of you on the stage as well, which was so powerful. And the fact that you did an original song as well. What was the song called and who wrote it?
What was the song?
It's called Acceptance, and it's basically all of our... And I start the first line.
I know, Katie, you were the first person to start. Were you not terrified?
A tiny bit terrified.
That would have been really...
Because a tiny bit
Because there's so many people out there as well. What did you think when you went on the stage and you saw that all the audience and all those people?
It was very excited because you wouldn't expect such a big crowd of them to watch us, but it was very good and everyone had fun. So.
Listen, they didn't just watch you, they stood up, they clapped, They cheered, they
sang.
cried, they loved it. They didn't just watch you.
Now, you were sitting in the audience, of course, right? And you have helped create Electric Umbrella. And I can't imagine how nervous you must have been, like a sort of expectant mum sitting and watching your family and you're there performing, and then to feel the energy around you must have been just fabulous.
It was amazing. I didn't actually know what to look at. I actually didn't watch the performance. I was watching the reaction of the audience, and it was the feeling, the energy in the room that we could really feel it. Everybody was stamping their feet. Felt like, you know, this thunder for Electric Umbrella. It was so exciting, and I just was... I felt it was shocking. There was like a lag between everybody celebrating and me thinking, ooh, what's happening?
Yeah. And Jonathan, Mel just said that it was shocking. Did you ever expect Simon to stand up for the second time and press that golden buzzer?
Never in a billion years, triple billion years. I love Simon. And I love him even more now. I can't even, my brain can't even process it yet.
Yeah.
It's just wild to me.
Jamie,
it really is.
We were watching you perform on Saturday, and it was spectacular watching you. And I know that you think the way you look is important, isn't it, for a rock star?
Yeah, it is.
What did you think watching it back? How did you feel?
The way I feel is like being a rapper, like, because I made some in this book.
So you've got your raps there?
Yeah. And
Doesn't go anywhere without it, do you, Jamie?
Yeah. And also, like, the way I feel like about that buzzer with someone called Man, it's like my idol. Yeah.
And he's put you through to the
I
semi-finals
know.
as well.
He's actually quite a softie, I think,
Yeah.
Simon Cowell. Do you know
Despite
what I
the
mean?
hard exterior.
He pretends to be really tough, but I
Yeah.
think he's actually quite a softie. Maggie, what was it like for you? Was it beyond your wildest dreams? And how were Ant and Dec with you? Do I need to phone them up and tell them? Were they behaving themselves?
Yeah.
What was the moment like when he pressed the buzzer and all the glitter started coming down?
Well, I thought he was going to say, sorry, I can't give you a golden buzzer. So it was all an ultra shock for me. But when he did, I was just really excited with everyone and immediately went to get some.
There was a great sense of togetherness, I think, is what we can all say.
Yeah.
That the young people from the school that were with us and our guys, we've all become very, very comfortable in each other's presence. And that, I think, really came across. You can see how cool that all of these kids were amongst all of us who are just these kind of, like, gregarious, different, we all look different, we all sound different, but the work that we've done in this, particularly in this one school, but in schools in general, has really helped for these young people to really kind of understand us for who we are.
I think it's a wonderful blend of lots of people from different backgrounds, different experiences. Raphael, you've been part of Electric Umbrella for quite a while now. What is it that you love most about being with these guys?
Well, it's just so amazing to be with them. They just teach you so much. They teach you that you should never judge people by their appearances and you should always accept them for who they are. And it's just amazing to have them in our school and, yeah, it's brilliant.
Where were you watching when the show went out live? Were you with your family? Were you all together?
We actually went to the Warner Brothers studios to watch
Yeah, Warner Brothers.
You went to the Warner Brothers studios?
We're from Watford.
Of course,
it's at Leavesden. So, yeah.
Wow.
So we were looking for a space where we could all get together and someone at Warner Brothers said, you can come and...
Pretty rock and roll.
Here.
Yeah,
It was lovely, wasn't it?
that was so nice of them getting... it was so nice of them to allow us to be there and watch it rather than...
Have that moment together.
Have that moment together, because it wouldn't be like that if it didn't happen.
So did everyone have a pint of butterbeer while you were watching?
It wasn't quite like that.
It wasn't.
It wasn't quite
I like the idea
that.
of it. But the question is, so I'm semi-final.
Yes.
Semi-final coming up.
Because the song was one that you wrote yourself, which was a fabulous song anyway. I mean, it's a brilliant pop song. We've got Deacon Blue coming in later. You must speak to Ricky and
they
Lorraine
should do a
about
cover.
it.
It'd be great.
They're over there. I'm sure they've seen it, but it's a beautifully constructed song anyway. What about the semi-final?
The great thing about Electric Umbrella, dare I say it, is that we've got so many good songs. We've been releasing stuff since 2017. Our first record came out. And we have got so many choices. So actually, we're a little spoilt for choice at the moment. So we'd be interested to see if people listen to our stuff, see, which one they think we should do. We've got a pretty good idea of where it's going to go. We've got about a month now to kind of get that together. Easter kind of lands in the middle of that, so we've got to work around that.
Yeah.
But
so not too much chocolate then, because you've got a big performance.
We've got a lot to
What to do.
Jamie, try and keep Jamie off the chocolate.
That's true.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens next, you guys. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
It was a
and
very,
enjoy
very
every
special
single
moment,
minute.
as Britain's Got Talent can do. But to meet Electric Umbrella, what you represent and who you are is magical. Can't wait to see what's coming next.
Yeah.
So thank you all for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
for
for
having us. Yeah.
as well.
Cheering you on for sure. Thank you, Jonathan.
you.
Thank you. Britain's Got Talent continues this Saturday at 7 p.m. on ITV1.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.